In the vast open waters of False Bay, South Africa, known as the gateway to the infamous Shark Alley, a competitive freediver named Thompson prepared to test the limits of her abilities. Mia, known for her daring and skill, had set her sights on a new challenge: to break the record for the deepest freedive in these shark-inhabited waters. The ocean here was beautiful but notorious for its population of great white sharks, the sea's apex predators. Mia was not only drawn by the thrill of the challenge, but also by a deep respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. The morning of the attempt dawned clear and bright, with the sun casting a shimmering path across the calm sea. Mia stood on the boat's edge, taking deep, focused breaths, readying her body and mind for the dive. Her team, including safety divers and marine biologists, watched with admiration and concern. They understood the risks involved, but also trusted Mia's skill and preparation. Mia slipped into the water with a final deep breath, her body cutting through the surface with barely a splash. She descended swiftly, propelled by her powerful kicks, her eyes focused on the depths below. The water around her grew darker as she went more profound, the sounds of the surface world fading away until all that remained was the beating of her heart and the slow rhythm of her breath. As Mia approached the target depth, she felt a surge of adrenaline. The ocean floor loomed below her, a vast expanse of shadow and light. It was in this moment of solitude and focus that Mia sensed she was not alone. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of a massive shape moving in the water. A great white shark, drawn by the disturbance in its territory, was approaching her, its movements deliberate and curious. Mia's heart raced, but she remained calm. She knew that panic would only attract the shark further. Drawing on her understanding of shark behavior and extensive training, she maintained her composure, using slow, controlled movements to signal that she was not a threat. As the shark circled closer, Mia prepared to use her free diving skills to make a controlled ascent, hoping to surface safely without provoking an attack. The encounter with the great white shark was the ultimate test of Mia's bravery and respect for the ocean's apex predators. It was a moment that balanced the thin line between courage and recklessness, a test of her ability to face the ocean's most significant challenge with grace and respect. As Mia began her ascent, her every move was calculated, designed to minimize any perceived threat to the great white shark now escorting her through the depths. The shark, a formidable silhouette against the dim light from above, continued to circle, its curiosity piqued but not aggressive. Mia focused on her training, using gentle movements to rise towards the surface, her eyes never leaving the massive predator. The distance between them slowly increased as Mia neared the surface, her lungs aching for air but her mind remarkably clear. She broke through the water's surface, gasping for breath, the sunlight warming her face. The safety team rushed to her side, relief evident in their eyes. Mia looked back at the water, half expecting the shark to follow, but it remained deep, a shadow fading into the blue. Mia reflected on the encounter on the boat, wrapped in a blanket. She had achieved her goal, not just in terms of depth, but also in facing the ultimate challenge of the ocean. The experience was a profound reminder of the respect owed to these majestic creatures, and the fine line between pursuing one's passions and respecting nature's boundaries. Mia's story spread, inspiring both awe and debate. It underscored the importance of understanding and respecting the ocean's apex predators. It highlighted the personal growth that comes from confronting fears head-on. For Mia, the dive was more than a record. It was a life-changing encounter that deepened her connection to the sea and its most formidable inhabitants. Mia Green was an adventurous spirit who eagerly explored her surroundings in the Maldives. On a beautiful morning in April, she decided to kayak over its sparkling waters, eager to discover vibrant coral reefs. When Mia paddled away from shore, she felt an immense rush of joy as her spirit was free from discovery. Mia marveled as she paddled her kayak over clear blue waters. Schools of colorful fish darted around beneath while coral created an underwater garden. It was everything Mia could ever ask for and more. But her peaceful dream adventure took an unexpected turn when shadows moved beneath her kayak. Reef sharks were known for being harmless, yet their sudden interest in numbers could be intimidating. When Mia took out her kayak for an early morning paddle, she was startled when several reef sharks suddenly found it intriguing. They began swimming toward it with curiosity and grace, giving Mia cause for alarm. Reef sharks could often be found close to humans, but never more so than now. Mia's kayak wobbled dangerously before it suddenly capsized and sent her plunging into the cool ocean. It took Mia by surprise as the cold shock water took away her breath as she surfaced, gasping for air. Now stranded with no kayak on hand and curious sharks surrounding them, she was helpless to protect herself against further disaster. Mia struggled with panic as the hours passed, recalling safety tips learned earlier, such as remaining still, conserving energy, and staying afloat. She struggled to remain calm as the minutes ticked by with no way back and her kayak seemingly unreachable. Mia found herself facing an uncertain and ever more dire outcome of her situation. Mia struggled to remain calm as sharks circled, their black eyes watching her closely. Panic could only worsen her situation further as she trod in water, trying to stay afloat and watch for predators. She finally understood the gravity of her situation. Alone and trapped in the middle of an ocean with sharks as her only allies. This moment would test both her inner strength and resilience as an individual. Mia mustered her courage and began working to get right back to her kayak, an almost impossible task in her current condition. Still, she knew it was her only chance to escape from the water and away from sharks circling it. Every move she made was calculated, every effort concentrated towards survival. As the sun continued its journey across the sky, Mia found herself caught between its beauty and her difficult situation. A battle of wills ensued between Mia's determined attempts at remaining calm against the unpredictable nature of sea life and its inhabitants. Mia floated among reef sharks as her mind raced with possibilities. Mia had long used her overturned kayak as her lifeline, so her immediate goal was to right it without alarming the sharks. Tapping into an unknown reservoir of calm she drew upon. Mia started moving towards it slowly but deliberately, with movements tailored specifically to avoid making any waves or drawing attention to herself from them. The sharks' curiosity kept them circling through the water near Mia like water skimmers, their sleek bodies gliding with ease across its surface. She reached her kayak, her heart pounding hard in her chest, before taking a moment to compose herself. Flipping back the kayak would require not only physical strength, but patience and precision. Mia took a deep breath before positioning herself at the side of her kayak and employing techniques she had learned, but had never imagined applying in such an urgent situation. Pushing down on one side, Mia tried using bodyweight leverage to turn over the kayak, but failed miserably. Nevertheless, she prepared herself for another attempt as time rapidly ticked away in the water. Mia made another attempt, this time propelled by adrenaline. Her kayak started turning, and gradually, after pushing harder, it finally flipped upright on its own, bobbing on top of the water's surface. A wave of relief came over her, but she knew that there was still no guarantee as sharks still circled closely monitoring Mia. Mia faced the daunting task of getting back into her kayak without capsizing or being eaten by sharks, taking time to consider her strategy before approaching from behind it to minimize the risks of capsizing again. After carefully considering all possible approaches and pulling herself slowly up onto it using slow and controlled movements, her muscles protesting due to all that effort in the water, she successfully returned herself to it. Mia took a deep breath as she assessed her situation. The shore was still distant and sharks seemed intent on attacking. Now that she had secured herself aboard her boat, however, Mia realized she had an advantage against them and searched the water for her paddle, only to discover it had likely vanished during all the chaos. Mia struggled not to give in to despair, searching the kayak for anything she could use to paddle. Her hands found an old waterproof gear bag piece, not ideal but would do in an emergency, which allowed her to swim with all her strength toward shore safety. With each stroke coming from fear mixed with hope, she forced forward in pursuit of safety. As she paddled, Mia noticed the sharks scattering, their interest waning as she moved further from their territory. Mia felt the sun beating down on her and felt her muscles tighten up as the distance began to shrink with each stroke, taking her one step closer to safety. Mia had finally returned. Exhausted from her journey, Mia collapsed onto the beach to rest her tired body and mind. Yet as she lay there taking in air, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude towards the ocean and all its creatures. Mia's journey had begun as an attempt to seek thrills, yet had quickly transformed into an invaluable lesson on survival, resilience, and the perseverance of the human spirit. Mia knew this experience would remain with her for life as an everlasting reminder of both its beauty and dangers in nature. Mia realized as she gazed back upon the ocean in its peaceful late-afternoon glow that her adventure wasn't simply about outwitting sharks and sea life. Rather, it had been an inward journey into herself, one that had brought her face to face with uncertainty and forced her out of her comfort zone, leaving her forever changed by experience. In the early years of the 1900s, near the Great Barrier Reef in Queensland, Australia, there lived a seasoned fisherman named John Andrews. John had spent many years at sea, his skin tanned by the sun and his hands rough from the ropes. He knew the waters like the back of his hand, navigating his small wooden canoe efficiently and skillfully. This part of the ocean was his home, where he felt at peace amidst the waves and the salt air. One day John set out into the open sea, just as he had done countless times before. The sky was clear and the water was calm, making for a perfect day of fishing. As he paddled further from the shore, John couldn't shake off the stories he had heard from the other fishermen in town. They spoke of a legendary great white shark, known by the locals as the Phantom of the Deep. This shark was unlike any other. It was considered unusually large and aggressive, with a history of attacking boats that ventured too far into its territory. Despite the warnings, John was not afraid. He had faced many challenges at sea and believed his experience and resourcefulness would keep him safe. He cast his net into the water as he reached his favorite fishing spot, hoping for a good catch. Hours passed, and John enjoyed the solitude and the rhythmic motion of the sea. However, his peace was shattered when he felt a sudden, powerful tug on his canoe. Startled, he saw a dark shadow moving swiftly beneath the water. It was the Phantom of the Deep, the legendary shark, coming straight for his canoe. John's heart raced as the shark circled closer, its massive form visible below the surface. He knew he had to act quickly. Grabbing his oar, he tried to paddle away, but the shark was too fast. It rammed into the canoe with a mighty thud, nearly tipping John into the water. The struggle for survival had begun. John fought to keep his balance, knowing that falling into the water would mean certain death. The shark circled back, its eyes fixed on John and his canoe. With each pass, it seemed to grow more aggressive, determined to overturn the small boat. John remembered the tales of the shark's attacks on other boats. It was said that the Phantom of the Deep had never been defeated, its strength and ferocity unmatched by any creature in the sea. But John refused to give up. He used his knowledge of the sea to his advantage, maneuvering the canoe in ways that made it difficult for the shark to predict his next move. The battle between man and beast continued as the sun began to set. John's arms ached from the effort, but he did not relent. He knew his only hope was to outlast the shark and wear it down until it lost interest. The sky turned orange and then pink, the beauty of the sunset lost on John as he fought for his life. The shark, relentless in its pursuit, seemed to sense John's determination. It was a test of wills, a battle of endurance between the seasoned fisherman and the legendary Phantom of the Deep. As the first stars appeared in the sky, the shark made one final desperate charge at the canoe. John braced himself, ready for the impact. But at the last moment, the shark veered off, disappearing into the ocean's depths. John was left alone on the open sea, his canoe intact but his body and spirit exhausted. He had survived the encounter with the Phantom of the Deep, but he knew the night was not over. He had to make it back to shore, back to safety. The journey home would be long and treacherous, but John was determined to see it through. As he paddled towards the distant lights of the coast, John couldn't help but wonder about the shark. Had it indeed given up, or was it waiting for another opportunity to strike? The encounter would become a tale passed down through generations, a testament to the fisherman's courage and the legend of the Phantom of the Deep. The night was silent as John Andrews continued his journey back to the coast of Queensland, Australia. With each stroke of his paddle, he moved further away from the open sea and closer to safety. The encounter with the Phantom of the Deep had taken its toll on John. His muscles ached and his mind was weary, but the thought of reaching home strengthened him. As the moon rose high in the sky, casting a silver glow over the water, John reflected on the day's events. He had faced the legendary shark and lived to tell the tale. It was a story that would indeed be passed down through generations, a testament to his bravery and the mysterious creature that lurked in the depths of the Great Barrier Reef. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, John saw the familiar outline of the shore. Relief washed over him as he realized he was almost home. As he approached the beach, the lights of the small fishing village came into view, welcoming him back from his harrowing adventure. John dragged his canoe onto the sand, his legs shaky from exhaustion. He looked out at the sea one last time, half expecting to see the dark shadow of the shark. But the water was calm and the shark was nowhere to be seen. However, John knew that the phantom of the deep was still out there, a reminder of nature's untamed wildness. Word of John's encounter with the legendary shark spread quickly through the village. People gathered around him, eager to hear his story. John recounted his tale, describing the shark's massive size and strength, and how he had used his wits and experience to survive. Fishermen spoke of the encounter in hushed tones, a reminder of the dangers that lurked beneath the waves. But for John, the experience was more than just a tale of survival. It reminded him of his connection to the sea, a beautiful and terrifying force. As the years passed, John continued to fish the waters of the Great Barrier Reef. He never again encountered the great white shark, but he always kept a watchful eye on the horizon. The sea was his home, a place of endless mystery and adventure. John's story was a cautionary tale for those who ventured into the deep waters. It reminded them to respect the ocean and its inhabitants, to understand that humans were just visitors in a world that belonged to creatures like the phantom of the deep. The legend of the great white shark lived on, symbolizing the untamed beauty of the Great Barrier Reef. And John Andrews, the seasoned fisherman who had faced the beast and lived, became a part of the sea lore, his name forever linked with the legendary phantom of the deep. In the end, John's encounter with the shark did not deter him from the sea but deepened his respect for it. He knew that the ocean was full of wonders and dangers, a place where stories of bravery and survival were written in the waves. John Andrews had become a part of that story, a reminder of the indomitable spirit of those who call the sea their home. In the heart of the Indian Ocean, the island of Fuvahmulah in the Maldives beckoned with its crystal-clear waters and abundant marine life. It was a paradise for scuba divers, offering a window into an underwater world of vibrant coral reefs and exotic sea creatures. Among those drawn to this underwater haven was Clara Bennett, a young and enthusiastic scuba diver from Canada, eager to explore the depths of Fuvahmulah's renowned dive sites. Clara joined a diving tour led by experienced local guides who knew the waters like the back of their hands. The group consisted of divers of varying experiences, all united by a love for the ocean. For Clara, this trip was more than just a dive. It was a chance to escape the mundane and connect with nature in its most unadulterated form. As they set out on the boat that morning, the sun shone brightly, reflecting off the turquoise water. The air was filled with excitement and a hint of nervous anticipation. The dive site for the day was a famous spot known for its colorful coral gardens and the diverse sea life that inhabited them. Geared up and ready, Clara and the group descended into the water, a world of blue enveloping them. The sight that greeted them was breathtaking, a kaleidoscope of corals in every imaginable color, teeming with fish darting in and out. Clara felt a sense of awe and freedom as she floated weightlessly, taking in the beauty around her. As the group explored the reef, Clara became mesmerized by a school of vibrant parrotfish. Without realizing it, she drifted away from the group, her attention entirely captivated by the scene before her. When she looked up, the other divers were nowhere in sight. A surge of panic hit her. She was alone in the vast ocean. Clara tried to stay calm, reminding herself of the training she had received. She checked her air supply and buoyancy and ascended to a shallower depth to spot the group. But as she turned, she noticed a large, dark shape in the distance. Her heart skipped a beat as she recognized a shark's sleek, unmistakable form silently gliding through the deep water. The shark, a solitary predator, seemed aware of her presence. Clara knew she had to be cautious. Sudden movements could attract its attention. She slowly started to swim back towards where she had last seen her group, keeping an eye on the shark. The shark, however, seemed to be following her. It wasn't aggressive, but its silent stalking was unnerving. Clara's mind raced with thoughts of what to do. She remembered reading about the behavior of sharks and how they often acted out of curiosity rather than aggression. But the distance between her and the shark was closing. She could see its eyes, unblinking and focused. Every second felt like an eternity as Clara navigated through the water, her movements deliberate and controlled. Clara's heart pounded as the shark continued to close the distance between them. She could now see its sleek, powerful body in more detail, its skin a mosaic of scars and marks from its life in the deep. Clara's mind raced with thoughts of escape, but she knew panicking could only worsen things. Now, only a few meters away, the shark seemed to be studying her, its dark eyes giving nothing away. Clara tried to recall everything she had learned about shark behavior. She knew maintaining eye contact and a confident posture could sometimes deter a shark from attacking. But the theory was far different from the reality she was now facing. As the shark made a slow, deliberate circle around her, Clara stayed as still as possible, her eyes locked on the massive creature. She could feel her heart thumping against her ribcage, the sound of her breathing loud in her ears. The world around her seemed to fade away, leaving only her and the shark in this underwater dance. When Clara thought the shark might lose interest, it suddenly turned and swam directly towards her. Its mouth opened, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Clara's training kicked in. She pushed out with her fins and made herself as big as possible, trying to seem less like prey. The shark veered off at the last moment, its rough skin brushing against Clara's wetsuit. The contact sent a jolt of fear through her, but she held her ground. The shark circled back, each passing a test of Clara's resolve. In those tense moments, Clara felt a strange connection to the creature. It was a wild, powerful being, yet there was a sense of intelligence in its actions. She realized that the shark was not attacking but displaying a natural curiosity. Suddenly, the sound of bubbles caught Clara's attention. She glanced to her side and saw the flash of dive lights. Her group, led by the guides, came to her rescue. Relief washed over her as she saw the familiar figures approach. The shark, sensing the arrival of more divers, gave Clara one last look before gracefully descending into the depths, disappearing into the blue. Clara's legs felt weak with relief, and her group quickly surrounded her. The guides checked on her, ensuring she was unharmed. As they ascended to the surface, Clara was silent, processing the encounter she had just experienced. Back on the boat, the group was abuzz with excitement and relief. Clara shared her story, her voice steady but still tinged with disbelief. The guides praised her for handling the situation calmly, noting how rare it was to have such a close encounter with a shark. The rest of the trip was uneventful, but Clara couldn't shake the awe and respect she had gained for the shark. She had faced one of nature's most formidable predators and come away with a story she would never forget. Back home, Clara often recounted her encounter in the Maldives. The experience had changed her, giving her a deeper appreciation for the ocean and its inhabitants. She had come face to face with a creature many feared, and instead of terror, she found a profound respect for the balance of life in the ocean. The story of Clara's encounter became a reminder of the beauty and mystery of the underwater world, a tale of respect, courage, and the delicate coexistence of humans and nature in the vast blue wilderness. Emily Harris was an adventurous marine biologist who found great peace in exploring the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest parts of the ocean, on an important mission, learning more about its creatures living deep below. For this endeavor, she used a submersible vehicle designed specifically to reach such depths. One day, as Emily explored the dark depths, something extraordinary occurred. As she collected samples near the ocean floor and marveled at all of its inhabitants, her dreams came true as she witnessed life unfold before her in this most hidden corner of Earth. Emily was stunned to find herself suddenly surrounded by a large group of deep-sea sharks. They were known for living in extreme darkness and pressure of the deep ocean. Emily had never seen so many all at once. Their eyes began glowing brightly under dim lighting from the submersible vehicle. Emily tried her best to remain calm. While she knew a great deal about sharks and that they tended to be more curious than aggressive, Emily realized her submersible wasn't designed to withstand sustained attacks from such powerful animals. Emily recognized she was in imminent danger and began avoiding shark attacks as quickly as she could. Emily noticed her oxygen levels dropping rapidly. Unfortunately, the submersible only provided sufficient supply to cover its mission, not for situations such as this one. With sharks blocking her way back up to the surface quickly, Emily needed to think fast as immediate return seemed unlikely. Emily examined her maps and instruments carefully. She needed a plan to evade a swarm of sharks and reach the surface before her oxygen ran out. Emily's heart raced as she searched the nearby deep-sea canyon for an exit route through which to outwit them. As Emily navigated her submersible in search of an escape route, she remembered why she became a marine biologist. Her love for the ocean and its mysteries had always inspired her, giving her courage in dangerous situations like this one. Determined to overcome it all and share her discoveries about its depths with everyone around her, Emily knew she must stay strong to save both herself and those awaiting rescue from danger. Emily made a decision, hoping her knowledge and quick thinking would be enough to take her back up to the surface and escape shark attacks. With only breath left for her, Emily prepared to make a move, hoping her knowledge would bring her safety. As Emily Harris's oxygen supply was quickly running low and sharks continued to surround her submersible, she realized it was time to act swiftly. She remembered a narrow passage on a map of the trench near where she currently was. While this could pose risks, its narrow width meant only enough room for one submersible at a time would fit through it, but it could provide the only hope of escape from sharks. Emily piloted her submersible towards the passage, her heart thumping with anticipation. Sharks followed, their dark shapes looming large in the dim light. When approaching, Emily carefully navigated its tight confines. However, there were walls close enough for contact to prevent passage. Still, she managed to maneuver her submersible through without incident. Once she reached the other side, Emily noticed the sharks no longer followed her. Perhaps the narrow passage had dissuaded them, or maybe they'd lost interest altogether. Either way, Emily was safe for now, although not entirely unsusceptible to danger. Her oxygen levels had become dangerously low. Emily pushed her submersible to its limit, moving as quickly toward the surface as she could. She monitored her oxygen consumption closely. Just before her oxygen ran out, Emily saw a faint glow of sunlight above her. It meant she had made it. With one last surge of power, Emily's submersible broke through the water's surface, and Emily breathed deeply. Relief filled her lungs. Back on her research ship, Emily contemplated her ordeal and its aftermath. She had faced her deepest fears and overcame them all. Meeting sharks in Mariana Trench served as a stark reminder of its vast power while reinforcing Emily's resolve to explore and protect its depths. Though terrifying at times, Emily's adventure represented courage and perseverance that would live with her forever. Alex Johnson embarked on a journey of recovery and solidarity in the serene yet wild waters off the coast of Gansbaai, South Africa, known for its dense population of sharks. Having survived a harrowing shark attack himself, Alex knew the depth of fear and trauma such an experience could engrave in one's heart. Determined to transform his ordeal into a beacon of hope, he founded a support group for individuals who had faced similar encounters. This group became a sanctuary for survivors, where their stories and fears could be shared without judgment, and understanding and empathy flourished. Alex proposed a daring and therapeutic idea: a group sea voyage into the waters that had once been a source of their nightmares. He intended to help the group confront their fears, look them in the eye, and find peace. The idea was met with mixed emotions, a blend of apprehension and a quiet, emerging courage. After months of preparation, which included safety protocols and learning about shark behavior, the group was ready to set sail. The day of the voyage dawned clear and bright, with the sun casting a golden glow over the waters of Gansbaai. As the boat left the harbor, there was palpable tension among the group. Each member was lost in their thoughts and memories. Alex stood among them, offering encouragement, reminding them of the strength they had shown by simply being there. As they ventured farther into the sea, the group's focus shifted to the world beneath the waves, guided by marine biologists who explained the importance of sharks in the ocean's ecosystem. This educational aspect was crucial to Alex's plan. Understanding was the first step toward overcoming fear. The moment of truth arrived when the boat slowed, hovering over a known shark hotspot. The water around them teemed with life, and then, gracefully and silently, a school of sharks appeared, gliding through the blue depths. The sight was both terrifying and mesmerizing. The group members, once victims of their trauma, now watched in awe, their fears mingling with a newfound respect for these misunderstood creatures. In this shared moment of vulnerability and wonder, the survivors found themselves on the cusp of something profound. The sea, once a source of their deepest fears, was now a stage for healing and understanding. As they observed the sharks not as monsters but as an essential part of the natural world, the seeds of transformation were sown. The journey was about facing their fears and understanding and respecting the force that had changed their lives. This voyage was the first step in a healing journey, guided by the power of community and the therapeutic nature of facing one's fears head-on. Something remarkable happened as the group watched the sharks move elegantly. The sea of fear that had once engulfed them began to recede, replaced by a sense of awe and a deeper understanding. Observing the change in his companion's expressions, Alex knew that this moment culminated their journey together. The sharks, once symbols of terror, now represented a bridge to recovery and acceptance. The marine biologists on board shared insights into the sharks' behavior, emphasizing their role in the marine ecosystem. This knowledge helped the group see the creatures in a new light, not as villains of the sea but as vital participants in the ocean's delicate balance. The realization that their fear had been rooted in misunderstanding helped dissolve the barriers that had held them back from healing. The atmosphere was markedly different as the boat began its journey back to shore. There was laughter, shared stories, and reflections on the experience. The encounter had sparked a shift, allowing the group to reclaim power over their trauma. Alex watched his companions, proud of their courage and the strides they had made. Back on land, the group gathered one last time to discuss the day's events. They spoke of their fears, initial reluctance, and how the experience transformed their perceptions. The support group, which had started as a collective of individuals bound by their traumatic encounters, had evolved into a community of empowered survivors united in their journey toward healing. The sea voyage off the coast of Gansbaai brought them face to face with their fears and showed them the beauty and complexity of the natural world. By confronting their past, they had opened the door to a future where fear no longer held dominion over their lives. This experience, rooted in understanding and respect, highlighted the transformative power of facing one's fears, supported by the strength of community. In the pristine waters surrounding the Mentawai Islands, Indonesia, a group of friends embarked on a surfing adventure that promised the thrill of riding the unspoiled waves of this secluded paradise. Among them was Jake Thompson, a seasoned surfer with a relentless passion for the sea and its untamed beauty. The Mentawai Islands, known for their crystal-clear waters, lush tropical landscapes, and some of the world's most consistent waves, were the perfect backdrop for their expedition. The group, filled with excitement and anticipation, set up camp on one of the smaller islands, a spot renowned among surfers for its perfect breaks but far removed from the bustling tourist trails. With his sun-bleached hair and a deep tan, Jake was the first to paddle out into the water, his board cutting smoothly through the waves. His friends watched from the shore, cheering and laughter carrying over the sound of the crashing surf. For Jake, surfing was more than a sport. It was a communion with nature, a dance on the edge of the world. As the day progressed, the group took turns challenging the waves, their skills on full display against the stunning backdrop of the island. The sun hung high in a cloudless sky, its rays reflecting off the water, turning it into a shimmering expanse of blue and green. However, as the afternoon gave way to evening, the mood shifted. Intending to catch one last ride before the day ended, Jake paddled beyond the reef, where the waves broke with more power and intensity. His friends, busy packing up their gear, paid little attention, confident in Jake's abilities. But nature, in its beauty, holds a power that can turn instantly. As Jake waited for the perfect wave, a dark shape emerged from the depths, its movement swift and purposeful. A shark, drawn by the activity in the water, had ventured closer to the surf. The attack, when it came, was swift and brutal. Jake felt a sudden sharp pain in his leg, a force that pulled him under, away from the safety of his board. The shock of the cold water and the realization of what was happening sent a surge of adrenaline through his body. He fought to break free, his mind racing with thoughts of his friends, family, and the life he cherished. On the shore, his friends, now aware of the struggle in the water, sprang into action. Panic set in as they realized the gravity of the situation. Their friend and companion were caught in a life-threatening ordeal with no immediate help in sight. As the golden hues of the setting sun bathed the Mentawai Islands in a soft light, the serenity of the evening stood in stark contrast to the chaos unfolding in the water. Jake's friends, realizing the severity of his situation, scrambled to launch a rescue effort from the shore. Max, the quickest thinker among them, grabbed a couple of surfboards, urging the others to follow him into the water, forming an impromptu rescue team. The ocean, their playground just hours before, now seemed like an immense, unpredictable adversary. As they paddled out, the sight that greeted them intensified their fear. Jake, pale and weakened from the struggle, was clinging to his board, his leg bleeding profusely. Working together with a sense of urgency born out of sheer desperation, they stabilized Jake on one of the boards and began the painstaking journey back to shore. Every stroke through the water was laden with fear and the heavy realization of how close they were to losing their friend. Once ashore, the gravity of Jake's injury became fully apparent. The bite was deep, and the loss of blood was significant. The group felt an overwhelming sense of helplessness with no immediate medical facilities on the secluded island and the nearest help hours away. Sarah, who had some basic first aid training, sprang into the challenge of getting Jake the medical attention he needed, as best as she could, trying to stem the bleeding until they could get professional help. The challenge of getting Jake the medical attention he needed was daunting. The island's isolation, a feature that had made their surfing trip so appealing, now became their biggest hurdle. The group knew they had to act fast with no cell service, and the only satellite phone back at their main camp on a neighboring island. Determined not to let their friend down, Max and another friend, Liam, decided to make the risky journey back to the main camp under cover of darkness, paddling vigorously across the open water with the hope of bringing back the satellite phone and calling for emergency assistance. Back at the beach, under the starlit sky, Sarah and the others stayed by Jake's side, offering words of comfort and doing their best to keep him awake and alert. The camaraderie and bond they shared as friends were now a lifeline, each drawing strength from the other in the face of adversity. Meanwhile, Max and Liam's paddle back to the main camp was a race against time, fueled by adrenaline and the urgent need to save their friend. Upon reaching the camp, they frantically searched for the satellite phone, their hands shaking as they dialed the emergency services, conveying the severity of the situation in hurried, anxious tones. The wait for help was agonizing. The group huddled together, keeping a vigilant watch over Jake, whose condition was stabilizing but still critical. The sound of a distant helicopter, the first sign of the rescue team's approach, was the sweetest sound they had ever heard. Relief washed over them in waves as the helicopter landed on the beach, its blades whipping the air, and trained medical personnel rushed to Jake's side. The rescue operation was swift and efficient. Jake was stabilized further and then airlifted to the nearest hospital, receiving the medical attention he desperately needed. The ordeal had brought the group closer together, their bond strengthened by the harrowing experience they had shared. In the following weeks, Jake's recovery became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the strength of friendship. The surfing trip to the Mentawai Islands, envisioned as an adventure in paradise, had turned into a life-altering experience for each of them, a reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the preciousness of life. As Jake healed, the group made a pact to return to the waves, but with a newfound respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. Their story, a dramatic tale of survival, adventure, and the unbreakable bond of friendship, became a source of inspiration, a reminder that hope and the human spirit can prevail even in dire circumstances. As Dr. Alex Kim stood on the deck of the research vessel, the warm sun cast a golden glow over the vast expanse of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. As a marine biologist specializing in shark behavior, Alex was about to embark on his career's most exciting field test. Korean Americans have always been drawn to the mysteries of the ocean. From a young age, he spent countless hours exploring the tide pools and rocky shores near his childhood home, fascinated by the diverse array of marine life that called the sea their home. As he grew older, Alex's passion for the ocean only deepened. He pursued a degree in marine biology, eager to unlock the secrets of the underwater world and gain a deeper understanding of its inhabitants. But it was his fascination with sharks that truly set Alex apart. Drawn to these enigmatic predators from an early age, he dedicated his career to studying their behavior and ecology, determined to shed light on the mysteries surrounding them. As he stood on the deck of the research vessel, preparing to embark on his latest field test, Alex felt a surge of excitement coursing through his veins. The Great Barrier Reef was a playground for marine biologists, teeming with life and ripe with opportunities for discovery. For years, Alex had been developing a revolutionary technique to communicate with sharks using sound frequencies. His groundbreaking research promised to unlock the secrets of these enigmatic predators, providing unprecedented insights into their behavior and communication patterns. Alex was in the water and equipped with an emergency buoyancy device. Alex activated the sound device and waited for a response. To his delight, a small reef shark appeared, drawn by the unfamiliar sound emanating from the device. With a sense of awe, Alex began communicating with the creature, marveling at the potential for interspecies understanding. That ought to have been enough, but no, he wanted more. Encouraged by the success of his initial test, he decided to push the boundaries further the next day. With the rest of the research team watching from the vessel's safety, Alex once again entered the water, this time determined to attract the attention of a giant, more formidable predator. Alex felt anticipation and a hint of trepidation as he descended into the water. He had successfully tested the device with smaller sharks the previous day, but this would be the first time he would attempt communication with a great white shark. As he activated the device, a sense of anticipation filled the air. Suddenly, a massive shadow emerged from the depths, a great white shark drawn by the powerful sound frequencies. Alex's heart raced as he realized what he had unleashed. The research team watched in awe as the colossal shark approached Alex, its movements both graceful and menacing. Concerned for his safety, they urged Alex to communicate with the creature and attempt to calm it down. But despite his best efforts, the shark continued to approach with alarming speed, its predatory instincts fully engaged. Desperation set in as Alex frantically pressed the button on his device, hoping to deter the shark's advance. But to his horror, the creature showed no signs of slowing down, its powerful tail propelling it forward with terrifying speed. Realizing he was running out of options, Alex reached for the emergency buoyancy device, determined to retreat to safety. But in his haste, his hand fumbled and he struggled to activate the mechanism. With the shark closing in, Alex knew he had only seconds to spare. Summoning all his strength and agility, he made a split-second decision to evade the impending attack. With lightning-fast reflexes, he swerved to the left, narrowly avoiding the razor-sharp teeth of the great white. The impact sent shock waves through the water as the shark veered off course, momentarily disoriented by the sudden change in direction. Seizing the opportunity, Alex boldly confronted the creature head-on rather than flee. Drawing on his years of theoretical knowledge and swimming skills, Alex frantically tried to defuse the tense standoff. He spoke soothingly to the shark, hoping to convey his non-threatening intentions and diffuse the escalating tension. But the great white seemed undeterred, its eyes fixed on Alex with a steely determination that sent a chill down his spine. As the standoff continued, Alex knew he was running out of time. With each passing moment, the great white's aggression grew more pronounced, its powerful tail thrashing the water with increasing force. Desperate for a solution, Alex reached for his communication device again, hoping to find a way to bridge the gap between himself and the shark. With trembling hands, he activated the device again, sending out a series of signals in a last-ditch effort to establish a connection with the great white. To his surprise, the effect was immediate. As the sound waves washed over the shark, its aggressive demeanor softened, replaced by a sense of curiosity and intrigue. With renewed determination, Alex continued sending out signals, each more intricate and nuanced than the last. To his amazement, the great white responded in kind, its movements mirroring the patterns of the sound waves as if engaged in a delicate dance of communication. Alex knew that he had achieved something truly extraordinary. His encounter with the great white shark demonstrated the potential for human-shark communication and opened new avenues for scientific exploration and discovery. But as Alex emerged from the water, exhausted but exhilarated, he was acutely aware of the dangerous nature of his work. The line between success and catastrophe had been perilously thin. and he knew that one wrong move could have cost him his life. Thailand's Andaman Sea was home to an adventurous man named Alex Thompson, who loved exploring its waters more than anything. Alex was an expert freediver, diving without using an air tank, holding his breath instead, into its depths. One sunny afternoon, he decided to discover an isolated coral reef known for its breathtaking beauty and mysterious underwater caves. Alex had been diving for years, yet the thrill of discovery never seemed to tire him. After gathering his gear and taking a deep breath, he plunged into the clear, warm waters of the Andaman Sea. As he dove deeper, the vivid coral colors and bustling marine life mesmerized him. Fish of various sizes darted around him freely as he felt at peace underwater. After searching for some time, Alex finally located the entrance to the cave system he had heard so much about. With excitement rising rapidly in his veins as he passed through its opening, his heart raced with anticipation as light from above faded as cool, shadowy surroundings filled up his vision. It felt like entering another world altogether, with strange rock formations and beams of light cutting through the darkness like coming home. Alex was very mindful about staying on course and remembering his journey back. Although free diving in caves could be potentially hazardous, he felt confident with his skills. Moving through the caves, he marveled at their beauty while completely immersed in the moment. Alex was shocked to encounter something unexpected. Just after turning the corner, he saw a massive nurse shark blocking his only exit route. Nurse sharks are typically calm, but this particular specimen seemed restless. Alex stopped in fear before realizing he needed to stay composed so as to think rationally and plan his response effectively. Alex watched for some movement from the shark, but nothing came. Looking down, Alex realized his oxygen supply was running low. Freedivers can only hold their breath for so long, and Alex knew it would soon run out if he did nothing quickly. Alex was familiar with sharks. They're typically curious, yet not aggressive, so Alex thought maybe he could gently coax this one into moving. Unfortunately, as he approached, it stayed still, its eyes on him, closely watching. Alex knew it wouldn't do to risk startling it or making any moves that might frighten or upset it further. Feeling overwhelmed, Alex took in his surroundings. The cave, once a symbol of beauty and adventure, now felt more like a confining prison. In this moment of solitude, his thoughts turned to his loved ones and the sea that had always been a source of joy and wonder for him. The stark realization dawned on him that this challenging situation might mark the end of his current adventure. This reflection led to a sudden epiphany about the true essence of his passion for freediving. It was never just about the thrill of exploring the unknown depths. It was also about confronting his deepest fears. Through the art of freediving, Alex had learned to face these fears directly, not just to overcome them, but to emerge stronger and more resilient. This realization rekindled his spirit, reminding him of the inner strength that freediving had instilled in him. Alex knew time was quickly running out and oxygen reserves dwindling, so it was vital for his survival that he found another route out of the cave or around the shark. His survival depended on it. Before taking action, he took a moment to gather himself together before confronting this challenge head-on. Alex Thompson faced the enormous nurse shark with determination as time ticked away and his oxygen supply ran critically low. Time was running out quickly. Decisions needed to be made soon, as only this seemingly non-moving shark stood between him and freedom in open sea waters. Alex was intrigued by stories of freedivers using careful movements and signals to communicate with marine life, believing in their connection between humans and ocean creatures, but now, more than ever, trusting in it. Slowly extending his hand towards the shark, not in an attempt to touch it, but just as an act of showmanship to demonstrate he meant no harm, Alex made sure no contact was made between them. Hence, the shark knew there would be no threat from his approach. Alex was startled to find that the shark had taken notice of his movements, watching every step he took with a keen gaze. With deep breathing and making a gentle pushing motion with his hands that mimicked water flow. To his amazement, the shark moved just enough for an opening in its path, creating just enough room for a passageway between its jaws for Alex to push against with respect for their home environment. Alex allowed ample time before giving it space, showing respect and admiration for each species' home environment. Once his passageway was clear, Alex recognized this was his chance to strike. As he approached, he slowly passed nearer the shark without startling it. While doing so, he marveled at its grace and power as it reminded him of nature's wonder and the intricate balance of the underwater environment. Alex emerged from the cave's mouth to see the light of the surface shining down, his lungs gasping for air as he kicked upwards to break through into the open sea and find safety. Finally making it, he gasped for air as the sun warmed his face. He had made it. He was safe. Alex floated peacefully through the water, gazing back at the cave and seeing its shadow. His feelings of gratitude were profound, not just for surviving, but for learning something very valuable about oceanic environments, that they held immense beauty, but demanded respect and understanding from human visitors. Alex later shared his tale with others, speaking of the stunning coral reef, exploring new depths, and finally meeting his nurse shark friend. This inspiring account became a testimony to courage, nature preservation, and the profound, sometimes unsaid, relationship between humans and ocean environments. As time passed, Alex found himself drawn back into freediving, relishing both its freedom and challenge. With each dive came an increased awareness of ocean life. Each dive felt like an honor that allowed him to discover not just new depths in his diving, but also himself, and explore inner areas like courage and kindness. Alex found great solace in exploring the Andaman Sea with its clear waters and rich marine life. He became more fascinated with every dive he took beneath its waves. After confronting his deepest fears in its depths, he had come out as not just a survivor, but as an advocate of the underwater world. In the vast, winding waterways of the Florida Everglades, a unique adventure awaited Tom Bennett, an enthusiastic kayaker with a passion for exploring the uncharted. The Everglades, known for their sprawling mangroves and diverse wildlife, were a kayaker's paradise. Having explored various water bodies across the United States, Tom was drawn to the Everglades for their serene beauty and the thrill of navigating through their complex network of channels. On a warm morning in July 2023, Tom set out with his kayak, equipped with essentials and his trusty waterproof camera. He planned to navigate through the less traveled paths of the mangroves, hoping to capture the raw beauty of this natural haven. The air was thick with chirping birds and rustling leaves, a symphony of life thriving in the wetlands. Tom's kayak glided smoothly over the calm, shallow waters, the green canopy of the mangroves casting dappled shadows on the surface. He was in awe of the peacefulness that enveloped him, a stark contrast to the hustle of city life he was used to. His camera clicked away, capturing herons in flight and the occasional alligator basking in the sun. As he ventured deeper into the mangroves, the channels became narrower, the canopy overhead more dense. The sunlight struggled to penetrate through the thick foliage, creating a play of light and shadow on the water. Tom was vigilant, aware that the shallow waters could hide unexpected dangers. Without warning, the water beside his kayak stirred. At first, Tom thought it was a fish or a small alligator, familiar sights in the Everglades. But then he saw a fin cutting through the water gracefully. A chill ran down his spine. It was a bull shark, notorious for its aggression and ability to thrive in salt and freshwater. Tom knew he had to remain calm. Bull sharks were known to be unpredictable, and he had limited options in the confined space of the narrow channel. He stopped paddling, hoping the shark would lose interest and move on. But the shark continued to circle his kayak, its dorsal fin slicing through the murky water. Tom's heart pounded as he slowly reached for his camera. If he was going to have a close encounter with one of nature's most formidable predators, he wanted to document it. He snapped a few photos, his hands trembling slightly. The shark seemed almost curious, its movements deliberate as it inspected the strange object in its territory. For several long minutes, Tom and the shark shared the channel. Tom remained still, avoiding sudden movements that might trigger an attack. He was acutely aware that the kayak offered little protection against the power of a bull shark. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the shark lost interest and swam away, disappearing into the depths of the mangroves. Tom let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. He waited a few moments, ensuring the shark was gone, before he began to paddle again, his strokes cautious and measured. Tom's paddle cut through the water with newfound urgency. The encounter with the bull shark had left him rattled, but he was determined not to let fear overshadow his adventure. He navigated through the winding mangroves, the tranquility of the environment belying the adrenaline still coursing through his veins. As he moved into a broader channel, the sunlight broke through the canopy, casting a warm glow over the water. Tom's eyes scanned the surface, half expecting to see the shark's fin reappear. But all seemed calm, the only movement coming from pelicans diving for fish. Tom's mind replayed the earlier encounter. He knew bull sharks were one of the few shark species that could survive in fresh water, making the Everglades an ideal habitat for them. They were elusive, though, and sightings were rare. Tom felt awe and respect for the creature he had just encountered, a living embodiment of nature's adaptability and strength. Lost in his thoughts, Tom didn't notice the shadow that lurked beneath the water, following his kayak silently. It was the bull shark, its curiosity not yet satisfied. Without warning, the shark surged upwards, its powerful body slamming into the bottom of the kayak. Tom was thrown off balance, his paddle slipping from his hands and clattering against the kayak. Water splashed into the vessel as it rocked violently. The shark's dorsal fin emerged again, circling for another pass. Tom's heart raced. He knew he was in a precarious situation. A capsized kayak would leave him vulnerable in the shark's domain. He scrambled to stabilize the kayak, trying to retrieve his paddle. Encouraged by the commotion, the shark bumped the kayak again, this time with more force. Tom clung to the sides, his knuckles white. He realized he had to get out of the shark's territory. With a deep breath, Tom started to paddle with his hands, steering the kayak towards a nearby bank. The shark followed, its fin cutting through the water at alarming speed. Tom paddled harder, his arms burning with the effort. As he neared the bank, the shark made one final attempt, its jaws snapping close to the kayak's edge. Tom felt the vibration of its powerful bite, a reminder of how close he was to danger. With a few more desperate strokes, he reached the shallow waters near the bank, the bottom of the kayak scraping against the muddy floor. Tom didn't stop until he had dragged the kayak onto solid ground. He collapsed beside it, breathing heavily, his body trembling from the adrenaline and exertion. He was safe, but the reality of what had just happened was sinking in. He had survived a close encounter with one of nature's most efficient predators. As he sat there gathering his strength, Tom's eyes fell on his camera. The photos he had taken earlier would be a testament to his incredible experience. He felt a newfound respect for the natural world and its inhabitants, a reminder of the delicate balance between humans and wildlife. Tom eventually returned to civilization, his story becoming a topic of discussion among the local kayaking and conservation communities. He shared his experience not to incite fear, but to promote understanding and respect for the wildlife of the Everglades, especially its more formidable residents. The story of Tom's encounter in the Everglades spread, a tale of adventure, respect, and the unpredictability of nature. It served as a reminder to all who ventured into the wilderness to admire from a distance, to respect the habitat of these wild creatures, and always to be aware of the silent fins that may be lurking in the murky waters. In the chilly waters of Gansbaai, South Africa, known as the Great White Shark Capital of the world, Dr. Anna Richardson prepared for a day that would mark a significant milestone in her career as a marine biologist. Her focus was on the intricate behavior patterns of great white sharks, and today's dive was to observe them up close to the safety of a shark cage. With keen eyes and a spirit undeterred by the dangers of the deep, Anna had spent years studying these majestic predators. Her work aimed to debunk myths surrounding sharks and to promote their conservation. The dive operation she joined was renowned for its commitment to safety and respect for marine life, making it the perfect partner for her research. As the boat reached the dive site, the crew began their preparations, lowering the sturdy cage into the water. Clad in her wetsuit and equipped with underwater cameras and sensors, Anna reviewed her checklist one last time. Her heart raced with anticipation from the prospect of coming face to face with the sharks and the opportunity to contribute valuable insights to marine science. The crew briefed her on the safety protocols, emphasizing the strength and reliability of the cage. The cage bars were made from high-grade steel, designed to withstand a great white shark's powerful jaws and brute strength. Anna nodded, her confidence bolstered by the crew's professionalism and the robustness of the cage. As the cage was secured, Anna descended into the water, the cold ocean enveloping her. Below, the underwater world was a murky expanse, visibility limited but sufficient for her purposes. She could make out the shadows of the marine life that called these waters home, and her anticipation grew. The first few minutes were calm, the only sounds being her breathing and the distant hum of the boat's engine. Anna's eyes adjusted to the dim light, and she began to observe the smaller fish that darted curiously around the cage. Suddenly, a shadow loomed in the distance, its size and shape unmistakable. A great white shark, its mottled gray skin, approached with a grace that belied its fearsome reputation. Anna's breath caught in her throat as she reached for her camera, her hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The shark circled the cage, its eyes seemingly fixated on Anna. She remained still, capturing every detail, from the gills pulsing with each movement to the scars that adorned its skin, each a silent testament to its life in the ocean's depths. As she focused on her work, another shadow appeared, larger and more menacing than the first. This shark, drawn by the commotion or perhaps by curiosity, moved with a purpose that sent a chill down Anna's spine. As the second great white shark approached, its size became more apparent, dwarfing the first shark that had initially captured Anna's attention. Its movements were deliberate, each flick of its tail propelling it closer to the cage with an unsettling focus. Anna's heart raced, her previous excitement tinged with a hint of apprehension. She steadied her camera, determined to document every moment, even as the situation grew tense. The shark circled the cage, its massive body casting shadows that danced across the steel bars in Anna's face. It seemed to be studying her, its dark eyes peering into the cage with a curious intelligence. Anna, a seasoned marine biologist, knew that sharks were often more curious than aggressive, but the proximity of this apex predator tested her resolve. The shark accelerated without warning. Its powerful body slammed against the cage. The impact was jarring, sending a shockwave through the structure. Anna stumbled but kept her footing, her hands gripping the bars tightly. The cage groaned under the strain, the sound of metal bending a stark reminder of the power these creatures possessed. The crew above, alerted by the commotion, sprang into action. Shouts echoed down to Anna, their urgent tones muffled by the water. The winch whirred to life, slowly raising the cage, but the undeterred shark struck again. This time, one of the bars bent inward, creating a gap that sent a surge of panic through Anna's veins. She pressed herself against the far side of the cage, her mind racing for solutions. The shark's aggressive behavior was unlike anything she had encountered in her research. It was a stark reminder of the unpredictability of the natural world, even for those who devoted their lives to understanding it. As the cage continued its ascent, Anna's fear was replaced by adrenaline. She realized that her experience, terrifying as it was, offered invaluable insight into shark behavior. Her camera, still in her hands, captured every second, the footage a testament to the raw power of nature. With mere inches to spare, the cage broke the surface, the crew pulling Anna to the boat's safety. Her relief was palpable, her breathing heavy as she recounted the encounter. The crew listened in awe, their expressions a mix of relief and disbelief. Back on shore, Anna's story spread quickly, her footage captivating everyone from fellow scientists to casual observers. It sparked discussions about shark conservation, the ethics of cage diving, and the need to respect the boundaries between humans and wildlife. Anna's encounter became a pivotal moment in her career. It reinforced her commitment to marine conservation, her respect for the creatures she studied deepening in a way she had never anticipated. While harrowing, the attack underscored the importance of coexisting with nature, acknowledging its beauty and dangers. As she shared her experience with the world, Anna's respect for the great whites of Gansbaai and all marine life became a central theme in her work. Her story was a powerful reminder of the ocean's mysteries, the need for continued research, and the importance of protecting these magnificent creatures and their habitat for future generations. Ward was no stranger to pushing the limits of human endurance. As a seasoned free diver, she had conquered some of the world's most challenging underwater environments, from Antarctica's icy depths to the South Pacific coral reefs. Her unwavering determination and exceptional skills had earned her a reputation as one of the most fearless explorers of her generation. But there are some adventures one should avoid undertaking. Eliza later discovered that. But what had become of her? Let's get on with it. Despite facing numerous diving challenges throughout her career, Eliza had never experienced the fabled blue hole in Belize. From her early training days, she had yearned to explore its depths, drawn by its mysterious allure and the thrill of the unknown. But her trainer had always forbidden her from venturing near it, citing the tragic fates of several professional divers who had failed to return from its depths. To Eliza, however, their failures only fueled her determination. In her eyes, they were not skilled enough to conquer the blue hole, but she was. With each passing day, her desire to explore its depths grew stronger, a burning obsession that consumed her thoughts and fueled her dreams. Despite the warnings and cautions of those around her, Eliza remained undeterred. She knew that the blue hole held the key to unlocking secrets of the underwater world that had eluded her for so long, and she was determined to claim them as her own. Eliza's resolve grew stronger as she trained and prepared for the day she would finally embark on her journey to the blue hole. She spent countless hours honing her diving skills, pushing herself to the limit in pursuit of perfection. The blue hole beckoned to Eliza like a siren song, its mysterious depths calling out to her with an irresistible allure. Few had dared to venture into its cavernous depths, but Eliza was undeterred. She had spent years honing her craft, mastering the art of freediving and studying the intricacies of marine behavior. She believed herself capable of conquering the blue hole and unlocking its secrets once and for all. Accompanied by her manager, a team of support divers, and a surveillance team equipped with state-of-the-art monitoring devices, Eliza embarked on her quest to reach the bottom of the blue hole. The journey was fraught with challenges, from navigating treacherous currents to contending with the crushing pressure of the deep. But as Eliza descended deeper into the abyss, she encountered a sight that sent a chill down her spine. A group of aggressive sharks lurking in the shadows, their razor-sharp teeth glinting ominously in the dim light. These were no ordinary sharks. They were apex predators, accustomed to ruling the depths ruthlessly. With her ascent path blocked and her oxygen supply dwindling rapidly, Eliza knew that she was facing the fight of her life. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, she refused to succumb to fear. Drawing on her years of training and experience, she summoned every ounce of strength and determination and prepared to confront the deadly predators head-on. As Eliza navigated the labyrinthine passages of the blue hole, she encountered one obstacle after another. Narrow passages, hidden caves, and sudden drop-offs that threatened to swallow her whole. But with each challenge, she grew more determined to overcome the odds and return to the surface. Just when it seemed she could go no further, Eliza stumbled upon a hidden chamber deep within the bowels of the blue hole. Here, she made a startling discovery, a cache of ancient artifacts hidden away for centuries beneath the waves. The significance of her find was not lost on Eliza. It was a testament to the enduring mysteries of the ocean and the countless secrets it held. But as she marveled at her discovery, tragedy struck. A sudden disturbance in the water alerted Eliza to the presence of the sharks, which had followed her into the chamber. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, she found herself locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse with the predators closing in on her from all sides. In a desperate bid to escape, Eliza fought with all her might, using every trick to outmaneuver the sharks and reach safety. But her efforts were in vain. The sharks were relentless, their primal instincts driving them ruthlessly to hunt down their prey. As the battle raged on, Eliza's oxygen supply dwindled to dangerously low levels, her lungs burning for air as she struggled to stay afloat. In a final act of defiance, she made a desperate dash for the surface, pushing her body to the brink of exhaustion in a bid to escape the jaws of death. But it was not to be. In the end, Eliza succumbed to her injuries, her lifeless body sinking silently into the depths of the blue hole. The vast and unforgiving ocean claimed another victim, leaving only echoes of a brave soul who dared to challenge its depths. After several hours, teams were sent into the water in submarines when she took too long to return. After a grueling search effort, her body was found, and all that had happened to her was recovered through the video recorder attached to her swimwear. As news of Eliza's tragic demise spread, the world mourned the loss of a true pioneer in free diving. Her courage and determination would live on as a testament to the indomitable spirit of human exploration, inspiring future generations to chart their course into the unknown depths of the ocean. In the warm, inviting waters of the Belize Barrier Reef, Nicole White, a marine ecologist, embarked on a purposeful mission. Alongside her team, she aimed to revive the coral reefs, these underwater rainforests teeming with life. Their work in the Caribbean, planting corals and finding ways to prevent further damage, had spanned several months. As dawn broke, splashing the sky with vibrant oranges and pinks, Nicole's team set sail, buzzing with anticipation for the day's efforts. The Belize Barrier Reef, with its transparent waters and rich marine life, was a sight to behold. Nicole, deeply connected to the ocean, was committed to safeguarding its splendor. Arriving at their designated site, the team got down to business, planting corals and monitoring the ecosystem's health under Nicole's guidance. Their task required precision and a soft touch. United by a passion for conservation, they tackled their mission with determination. However, an unforeseen challenge emerged. A reef shark, drawn by curiosity and a sense of guardianship over its home, started circling the area. While shark sightings were common in these parts, this particular shark seemed unusually focused on the humans disrupting its territory. Nicole's initial reaction was fear. Sharks, after all, are powerful beings, but she also respected their role in the ecosystem. Choosing observation over panic, Nicole sought to understand the shark's actions. The situation escalated when the shark, perhaps viewing their work as an intrusion, approached aggressively. Its powerful form cut through the water, coming dangerously close. Nicole, maintaining her composure, instructed her team to stay calm and avoid sudden movements so as not to provoke the shark further. But despite their caution, the shark's behavior turned confrontational. It darted towards one of the divers, brushing against him and leaving a shallow cut on his arm. The team was in shock. Nicole knew they had to act swiftly to prevent further incidents. Utilizing her knowledge and experience, Nicole directed her team to form a tight group and slowly retreat to the boat. She grabbed a nearby piece of coral debris and tossed it away from them, diverting the shark's attention. The shark, momentarily distracted by the debris, allowed them a moment to escape. This harrowing encounter was a wake-up call. Nicole realized the delicate balance they were disturbing and saw firsthand the consequences of their intrusion. The team's safety was her top priority, and she knew adjustments were needed to continue their work without endangering both the marine life and themselves. Back on the boat with the injured team member receiving first aid, Nicole reflected on the incident. It was a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of working in such a wild environment. The team's efforts to restore the reef had inadvertently put them in harm's way, highlighting the need for more cautious, non-invasive methods. The shark attack shifted Nicole's perspective. She understood that their presence in the reef was not merely about restoration, but about coexisting with the marine inhabitants. The balance of the ecosystem was fragile, and their actions had consequences. That evening, as Nicole pondered their next steps, she felt a mix of emotions. The day's events had tested their resolve, but also reinforced their commitment to the reef's preservation. Nicole knew they had to find a way to work in harmony with the ocean's creatures, respecting the home they were striving to protect. This incident spurred Nicole to research and implement non-invasive conservation techniques. She became an advocate for approaches that minimized human impact on marine ecosystems, ensuring that future restoration efforts would be safer for both her team and the reef's inhabitants. As Nicole looked out over the reef, the stars twinkling above, she realized the journey ahead was filled with challenges. Yet she was more determined than ever to make a difference, armed with a deeper respect for the ocean and its complex web of life. After the shark incident, Nicole's perspective on coral restoration underwent a profound transformation. The encounter served not just as a reminder of the ocean's unpredictability, but also as a crucial lesson in humility and coexistence. Determined to ensure the safety of her team while minimizing their impact on the marine ecosystem, Nicole initiated a series of changes to their restoration practices. First, she organized workshops on safety and emergency response for her team, focusing on how to act during encounters with marine wildlife. She emphasized the importance of understanding shark behavior, reducing panic, and using non-threatening maneuvers to retreat safely. Nicole also invested in safer, less invasive equipment that would not disturb marine life as much, ensuring their work was quieter and less disruptive. To further minimize their impact, Nicole introduced a system of rotating work zones, allowing parts of the reef to rest and recover while they focused on other areas. This approach not only reduced stress on the ecosystem, but also allowed the team to monitor the progress and health of the coral more effectively. Nicole's commitment to non-invasive conservation techniques caught the attention of the broader conservation community. She shared her experiences and insights at conferences, advocating for approaches that respected marine life's intricacies. Her story of the encounter with the shark and how it reshaped their mission inspired others to reconsider their methods, sparking a shift towards more mindful and respectful conservation practices. Meanwhile, back at the reef, the changes were bearing fruit. The areas where Nicole's team worked showed signs of recovery, with new coral growth and an increase in fish populations. The shark, once a symbol of the challenges they faced, now seemed to keep a respectful distance, its behavior a reminder of the delicate balance they were working to preserve. Nicole's team, now more experienced and mindful of their impact, continued their work with renewed vigor and respect for the marine environment. Their efforts were a testament to the idea that humans could indeed contribute positively to the ocean's health, without causing harm. Years later, the Belize Barrier Reef showed remarkable signs of recovery. The coral was thriving, fish populations were up, and the ecosystem was more resilient. Nicole's encounter with the shark had become a pivotal moment in her career, a story she often shared to highlight the importance of respecting and understanding the ocean's inhabitants. As she stood on the deck of their boat watching the sun dip below the horizon, Nicole felt a profound connection to the ocean and its myriad forms of life. The journey had been full of challenges, but it was also immensely rewarding. She had learned that proper conservation was about more than just restoration. It was about harmony and respect. Nicole's work on the Belize Barrier Reef was a reminder to all that conservation efforts must be thoughtful, respecting the delicate balance of ecosystems. The story of her and her team's evolution, spurred by a single encounter with a reef shark, echoed a powerful message: coexistence is possible and the key to successful conservation. The legacy of Nicole's work, marked by a dedication to non-invasive techniques and safety, continued to inspire future generations of marine ecologists. The vibrant and full-of-life reef stood as a testament to what can be achieved when humans work in harmony with nature, respecting its guardians and learning from its lessons. In the vibrant city of Cancun, Mexico, known for its crystal-clear waters and thrilling water sports, Ethan Turner, a young and adventurous tourist from Canada, was excited to try parasailing for the first time. The warm, sunny day with a clear blue sky provided the perfect conditions for an unforgettable experience over the Caribbean Sea. Ethan, with his characteristic enthusiasm, listened intently to the safety briefing from the parasailing instructor Carlos. Carlos, a seasoned expert with years of experience, explained the do's and don'ts, ensuring Ethan felt comfortable and secure with the harness and equipment. With a reassuring pat on the back, Carlos signaled the boat captain to start the engine, and soon Ethan was soaring into the air, his parasail billowing brightly against the backdrop of the sun. From his aerial vantage point, Ethan was mesmerized by the panoramic views of Cancun's coastline, the white sandy beaches blending seamlessly into the turquoise waters. The thrill of floating high above, with the wind in his face and the gentle tug of the parasail, was exhilarating. Below him, the water was a tapestry of blues and greens, teeming with life. As Ethan enjoyed his flight, the boat maneuvered through the water, guided by Carlos's experienced hands. The laughter and cheers from other tourists on the boat reached Ethan, adding to the moment's joy. Everything was perfect, an adventure Ethan had dreamed of, a story he couldn't wait to share. However, as the boat took a wide turn, an unexpected gust of wind caught Ethan's parasail, causing a sudden jolt in the line. Ethan's heart raced as he felt himself dropping closer to the water's surface. Carlos and the boat captain worked quickly to stabilize the situation, but before they could regain control, Ethan found himself skimming the water. The touch of the cool water was initially a thrill, an unexpected part of the adventure, until a shadow beneath the surface caught Ethan's eye. A giant shark, attracted by the commotion and the unusual presence in its territory, approached with a speed and precision that belied its size. Panic set in as Ethan realized the danger he was in. The serene beauty of the Caribbean Sea had turned into a suspense scene. Carlos shouted instructions from the boat, trying to reassure Ethan and guide him on what to do. But the fear and the wind made it hard to hear. As the shark drew closer, Ethan's mind raced for solutions. He tried to lift his legs to make himself less accessible, but the dip and sway of the parasail made it difficult to control his movements. The boat crew, realizing the gravity of the situation, frantically worked to reel Ethan in, but the process was slow and every second felt like an eternity. The tension in the air was palpable as Carlos and the boat crew worked with desperate urgency, their efforts focused on pulling Ethan back to safety. The winch whirred loudly, slowly retracting the line, but the shark, a dark silhouette against the sunlit water, continued its ominous circling, its dorsal fin cutting through the surface like a blade. Suspended between sky and sea, Ethan felt a surge of fear, unlike anything he'd ever experienced. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the ticking of an unseen clock. Below, the shark's movements became more deliberate, as if it was biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. On the boat, the atmosphere was frantic. Carlos shouted encouragement, trying to keep Ethan calm, while the captain pushed the engine to its limit, attempting to create distance between Ethan and the shark. The other tourists, once excited spectators, now watched in stunned silence, their cheers replaced by hushed prayers. As the winch continued its slow work, Ethan dipped closer to the water with each sway of the parasail. The cool spray of the sea brushed against his skin, starkly contrasting the heat of his fear. He knew he had to keep his legs up to make himself as small a target as possible, but fatigue was setting in, making every movement a struggle. Sensing the vulnerability above, the shark made a sudden, swift approach, its sleek body cutting through the water with terrifying speed. Seeing the shark's advance, Ethan braced himself, his mind racing with images of what might come next. But fate intervened in those critical seconds. Just as the shark neared, a wave, more significant than the rest, rose, momentarily blocking its path and disrupting its trajectory. The unexpected barrier gave the boat crew the precious time they needed. With a final Herculean effort, they managed to hoist Ethan out of the shark's reach, pulling him back towards the boat at a pace that defied their earlier struggles. Ethan's relief was overwhelming as he felt himself rising away from the water. His breaths came in ragged gasps, a mixture of fear and gratitude filling his chest as he was finally brought aboard. The crew and his fellow tourists erupted into spontaneous applause, their relief as palpable as his own. Back on the boat with solid ground beneath his feet, Ethan collapsed into the arms of Carlos, who clapped him on the back with a mixture of relief and caution. The captain steered them back to shore, the boat cutting through the water with a newfound urgency, eager to leave the site of the near disaster behind. The incident became the talk of Cancun, a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of adventure sports and the ever-present dangers that lurked beneath the waves. Ethan's story, with its dramatic arc from exhilaration to terror and back to safety, was shared far and wide, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the quick thinking of those who had come to his rescue. As Ethan reflected on his experience, the adrenaline of the moment gave way to a deeper appreciation for life's fragility and the unexpected challenges it presented. His brush with danger in the tropical waters of Cancun would stay with him forever, a narrative of survival that he would carry into every future adventure. A reminder that the line between thrill and threat was as thin as the parasail that had taken him into the sky. In the bustling marine research community of Long Island, New York, Dr. Ava Simmons, a dedicated marine biologist, embarked on a groundbreaking research project. Her focus was on the behavioral patterns of sharks in the North Atlantic, a study that aimed to demystify these often misunderstood creatures. Ava, known for her fearless approach and innovative methods, believed that close observation in their natural habitat was key to unlocking new insights. In early June 2001, Ava set off to a remote island off the coast of Long Island, a place known for its rich marine life and notably, its diverse shark population. She planned to spend a week on the island, conducting underwater observations using state-of-the-art technology, including drones and underwater cameras. Ava's base camp was a small, weather-beaten cabin on the island's edge, surrounded by the vast expanse of the ocean. She had all the essentials for her stay: research equipment, provisions, and a small boat for her daily excursions. Her only companion was her loyal assistant, Mark, a young marine science graduate eager to learn from one of the best in the field. Ava and Mark ventured into the ocean daily, tracking and observing the sharks from a safe distance. Ava's method was to blend into the environment as much as possible, using a specialized diving suit that mimicked the texture and color of the seabed. Her approach worked. They gathered valuable data, observing the sharks' natural behaviors without disturbing them. However, on the fourth day, something extraordinary happened. While Ava was submerged, a curious great white shark, larger than any she had seen before, approached her. Its size was imposing, yet its movements were graceful, almost gentle. Ava's heart raced. She was both exhilarated and terrified. She knew she had to remain calm. Sudden movements could provoke the shark. The shark circled Ava, its dark eyes seeming to study her. Ava stayed as still as possible, her training telling her that the shark was more curious than aggressive. Watching from the boat, Mark was ready to intervene, but Ava signaled him to stay back. This was a rare opportunity to observe up close. The shark and Ava shared the water for several long minutes, a silent dance of predator and observer. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the shark swam away, disappearing into the deep blue. Ava emerged from the water, her heart still pounding, her mind racing with what she had just experienced. Back at the cabin, Ava documented the encounter in her research log that evening. This was more than just a close call. It was a moment of connection, a glimpse into the intelligence and complexity of these magnificent creatures. The following days brought more observations, but none as intense as her encounter with the great white. Ava's respect for these animals deepened, and she felt a renewed sense of purpose in her research. Her findings would contribute to the scientific understanding of sharks and the conservation efforts to protect them. Ava and Mark packed their equipment as the week ended, ready to return to the mainland. Ava looked at the ocean one last time, knowing that this trip had forever changed her perspective. The journey back to Long Island was quiet, with Ava lost in thought, replaying the encounter with the great white shark repeatedly in her mind. It was a moment that blurred the lines between observer and participant, a reminder of how little we truly understand about these creatures of the deep. Ava's findings at the Marine Research Facility stirred excitement among her peers. Her close encounter in particular sparked a flurry of discussions. The footage she captured was unlike anything they had seen before, providing unprecedented insights into shark behavior. But for Ava, the experience had left her with more questions than answers. Driven by her newfound curiosity, Ava dedicated the following months to analyzing the data. She worked tirelessly, piecing together the great white's behavior puzzle. Her research began to suggest something revolutionary, that these sharks might possess a level of curiosity and intelligence that had previously been underestimated. The academic world buzzed with the implications of Ava's research. Invitations to speak at conferences and contribute to prestigious journals poured in. Ava, however, remained focused on her work, knowing that this was just the beginning of a longer journey of discovery. Ava prepared for a return trip to the island as the months turned into a year. This time, her mission was to establish a more permanent research station, allowing for continuous observation and study of the sharks in that region. Now a more experienced researcher under Ava's mentorship, Mark joined her again. The new research station, a blend of technology and sustainability, was a testament to Ava's vision. Equipped with advanced tracking systems, underwater drones, and a dedicated team of researchers, it was a hub of shark research unlike anything that had existed before. Ava's work began to shift the public perception of sharks. She advocated for their conservation through her publications and talks, dispelling the myths and fears that had long surrounded these animals. She emphasized the importance of sharks in the marine ecosystem and the urgent need to protect them. 2 years after her initial encounter, Ava found herself again in the waters off the island, observing a group of great whites. Among them, she recognized the distinctive markings of the shark that had approached her that fateful day. It was a surreal moment, a silent acknowledgement between researcher and subject. Ava's research continued, contributing significantly to the field of marine biology. Her experience with the great white became a cornerstone of her career, a story she often shared to inspire others. It was a tale of respect, discovery, and the endless mysteries of the ocean. Years later, Ava retired, leaving behind a legacy of groundbreaking research and a new generation of marine biologists who continued her work. The research station on the island remained a beacon of learning and conservation in the vast, unexplored waters of the world. As Ava looked back on her career, she realized that her greatest discovery wasn't in the data or the accolades, but in her profound connection with the ocean and its inhabitants. It was a reminder that in the depths of the sea, there are wonders beyond our imagination, waiting to be uncovered. In recent memory, there was a courageous woman named Rachel Adams. She loved sailing more than anything and had big aspirations of sailing across the Atlantic Ocean on her own from the Bahamas to the Canary Islands. An ambitious undertaking even experienced sailors often found difficult. One morning in 2001, Rachel began her voyage aboard the Sea Whisperer with great anticipation. Everything on board had been carefully considered. Food, water, and all necessary tools had been packed safely away. As she waved off to shore with mixed emotions of anticipation and nervousness behind her, she felt prepared for what lay ahead, ready for adventure and ready to embark. Rachel enjoyed an idyllic start. The sky was blue, the sea calm, and Rachel felt free and happy as she navigated across this vast ocean. She saw dolphins and flying fish with sunsets that rivaled any she had witnessed before. At night, stars filled the night sky, guiding her path homeward. But one day, everything changed. Rachel noticed dark clouds gathering overhead and waves becoming rough in the ocean. Although stormy conditions weren't new to her, Rachel prepared her yacht so it would remain safe in case there were any stormy conditions ahead. This time, though, it wasn't just weather she had to worry about. Amidst the growing waves, Rachel caught sight of a massive shape in the water, a formidable tiger shark. The shark, with its cold, calculating eyes, began circling her yacht, a stark reminder of the intelligence and danger these predators possessed. Rachel was all too aware of the reputation tiger sharks had for being both smart and dangerous, particularly when provoked or threatened. The situation escalated as the shark, seemingly undeterred by the presence of the yacht, launched a sudden and aggressive attack. With astonishing force, it rammed into the vessel, its powerful jaws and sheer mass causing significant damage. This unexpected assault not only intensified the peril Rachel was already in, but also highlighted the urgent need for her to address the breach in the boat's hull to prevent it from taking on more water and potentially sinking. Rachel found herself not only fighting the storm, but also this relentless shark. Rachel's communication tools stopped working, leaving her without help available to call on. Although feeling alone and afraid, Rachel reminded herself she was strong and smart and refused to surrender without a fight. Rachel developed a plan. She needed to prevent the yacht from sinking and find ways to keep away the shark, using buckets to drain off excess water from within the vessel while finding some temporary repairs for its hull, all while the shark waited, ready to strike at any moment. As night fell, Rachel found herself exhausted but determined not to give up. She knew she must survive until morning, when there might be more time and opportunity to figure out a way out from under the shark's threat. Although stars were hidden behind clouds and the sea was angry, Rachel's spirit remained undamaged. She thought back on why she began this journey, not just crossing the ocean, but proving that she could conquer her fears, as well as this shark and storm were part of her story. Determined to make this one that would end in triumphant survival for herself and those close to her. Rachel had spent the night fighting to remain alive, keeping the water at bay and watching for signs of the shark. She prayed that dawn would bring new ideas, a way out from under this nightmare. Rachel Adams felt renewed hope when the first rays of sunlight broke through the dark clouds and revealed themselves, giving her renewed strength after an exhausting night fighting against the waves and being threatened by the tiger shark. Although exhausted from her battle to stay afloat and still alive with her yacht, the Sea Whisperer. While the storm had passed and left calm waters behind it, still lurking below were signs of danger from beyond. Rachel knew there would always be danger just below the surface. That shark lurked silently behind the waves, ready to resurface at any moment, making Rachel nervous. Rachel knew she couldn't relax her guard. The shark had damaged her yacht, leaving it without communication systems to reach for help between the Bahamas and Canary Islands in the vast Atlantic Ocean. But Rachel wasn't one to give up easily. Resourcefulness had always been one of her hallmarks, so now, more than ever, she needed all her skills for survival. Rachel remembered reading about sharks losing interest if they could not get what they desired. Hence, Rachel decided to make the yacht less appealing to sharks by gathering any spare material, pieces of metal, or other hard objects she could find, banging them together to create noise, and hopefully dissuade them from approaching. As she worked through the day, Rachel diligently repaired the yacht as best she could, using waterproof sealant to temporarily patch any leaks in it and rigging a makeshift sail from spare fabric as shark attacks had severely damaged its original sail. All this to ensure her survival. Rachel noticed something was different when the sun reached its highest point. The shark, who had been her constant companion for months now, suddenly disappeared without explanation. Though Rachel wasn't entirely certain why he hadn't returned yet, she took advantage of this moment to rest her body while her spirit remained undiminished. Rachel knew time was of the essence, so she quickly set sail toward the Canary Islands using stars and her compass as guides. Without communication systems in place, she couldn't alert anyone of her situation. Still, she hoped that either another vessel or landmass might help her detect it. Rachel continued on her voyage slowly but steadily, conserving food and water as best as she could to last until safety could be reached. Although the shark never reappeared, its memory lingered with her. It kept her vigilant at all times to defend both herself and her yacht against possible attacks. After what seemed like an eternity at sea, Rachel finally saw land. It was the Canary Islands as planned. Rachel had done it. She had crossed the Atlantic Ocean alone while encountering a tiger shark, and she survived. When she docked at her marina, people rushed over to help her, impressed by her story of survival and courage. Rachel had endured an ordeal that was far greater than she could ever have anticipated, yet she emerged victorious from it all. Her story became known far and wide, inspiring others with its courage and resolve. Rachel realized after this journey was complete that it had altered both herself and the world forever, proving with resourcefulness that even the toughest challenges could be met head-on and overcome with persistence and wisdom. Rachel felt a profound sense of peace as she stood firmly on solid ground, looking back across the Atlantic Ocean. Not only had she conquered its vast waters, but more importantly, had also overcome herself. Her voyage had served as proof that each individual possesses within themselves the strength necessary to face unknown situations with bravery and emerge stronger than before. Dr. Natalie Chen, a zoologist, gazed out of the small research vessel as it cut through the calm waters of the Pacific Ocean. The warm breeze tousled her hair as she scanned the horizon, excitement coursing through her veins. She was finally on her way to the remote Pacific island she had dreamed of studying for years. As the island loomed closer, Natalie's anticipation grew. She had heard tales of its pristine beauty and unique ecosystem and is bound to experience it now. Stepping onto the island's sandy shore, Natalie was greeted by a group of indigenous islanders. Their weathered faces bore the marks of a life in harmony with nature, and Natalie felt a deep respect for their connection to the land and sea. Before delving into her research expedition, Dr. Natalie Chen saw the opportunity as a chance to escape the demanding pace of life in America and the confines of her institute. Eager to immerse herself in the local culture, she wasted no time sampling some of the region's most exotic delicacies and embarking on thrilling adventures. One of Natalie's escapades led her deep into the heart of the jungle, where she encountered a local tribe known for their ancient traditions and deep connection to the land. In a quaint village nestled among the trees, she was welcomed with open arms and treated to a feast fit for a queen. From succulent roasted meats to fragrant spices and vibrant vegetables, Natalie indulged her senses in a symphony of flavors unlike anything she had ever experienced. But it was not just the food that captured Natalie's attention. It was the warmth and hospitality of the people she met along the way. Through shared meals and laughter-filled conversations, she forged bonds that transcended language and culture, finding a sense of belonging in a place far from home. Another unforgettable adventure took Natalie to the edge of a towering cliff overlooking a pristine lagoon, its crystal-clear waters shimmering in the sunlight. With a sense of exhilaration coursing through her veins, she plunged into the depths below, immersing herself in the cool embrace of the ocean. As she swam among schools of colorful fish and danced with the gentle currents, Natalie felt a profound connection to the natural world around her. Moments like these, moments of pure, unadulterated joy, reminded her why she had embarked on this journey in the first place. But amidst the beauty and wonder of her surroundings, Natalie's curiosity was piqued by tales of a legendary shark roaming the lagoon's waters. According to the locals, this mythical creature was revered as a guardian of the sea. Its presence was believed to bring prosperity and abundance to the lagoon's ecosystem. Despite the locals' warnings, Natalie remained undeterred in her quest to explore the mysteries of the underwater world because she had to report back at the Institute. With a steely determination and an insatiable thirst for knowledge, she developed a penchant for uncovering the truth behind the legend of the guardian shark, eager to unravel the secrets of the lagoon's delicate ecosystem. With the help of her newfound companions, Natalie set up her research base camp near the lagoon. She wasted no time immersing herself in her studies, eager to unravel the secrets of this enigmatic ecosystem. Days turned into weeks as Natalie and her team researched, meticulously documenting the myriad species that called the lagoon home. But as they delved deeper into their studies, Natalie couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Strange fluctuations in water temperature and dissolved oxygen levels hinted at an underlying imbalance in the ecosystem. Natalie knew this imbalance could have devastating consequences if left unchecked for the lagoon and its inhabitants. Determined to uncover the cause of these anomalies, Natalie ventured deeper into the lagoon, her senses heightened by urgency. Suddenly, she felt a presence behind her and saw a massive shadow gliding through the water. Heart-pounding, Natalie watched in awe as the legendary guardian shark emerged from the depths, its sleek form cutting through the water with effortless grace. The islanders' tales had been confirmed. The guardian of the lagoon stood before her, a silent sentinel watching over its domain. Through years of experience in the water, Natalie remained motionless, disguising herself as a lifeless body. The massive shark approached, circling her for an eternity before eventually swimming away. Relieved that the danger had passed, Natalie hastily made her way out of the water. Despite her familiarity with sharks, she had never encountered one as imposing as this. Curiosity gnawed at her, and Natalie was determined to capture footage of the colossal creature to study at the Institute. The following day, she and her team made preparations, gearing up with scuba diving equipment and ensuring they had a compatible camera for underwater filming. With a rope tied around her for safety, Natalie descended into the depths again. After scouring the waters, Natalie finally spotted the enormous shark, its presence looming ominously before her. However, her decision to venture closer proved to be a grave mistake. Sensing her movement, the shark abruptly turned towards her, its massive form bearing upon her with alarming speed. Realizing her error, Natalie panicked and began swimming frantically back towards the vessel's safety. But the shark, now agitated by her presence, pursued her relentlessly. Just as Natalie reached the surface and her crew extended a helping hand, the shark caught up to her, clamping its teeth onto her swim fin. In a heart-stopping struggle, Natalie fought to free herself, the adrenaline coursing through her veins as she wrestled with the mighty predator. With a final burst of effort, she managed to break free, her swim fin torn but her spirit undaunted. Though physically spent, Natalie felt a surge of satisfaction knowing she had captured the coveted footage. However, her triumph was short-lived as the locals, angered by her actions, forbade her from conducting further research on the island. Despite the setback, Natalie had acquired more than she had bargained for, her encounter with the formidable shark serving as a testament to the unpredictable nature of the ocean's inhabitants. In the heart of the Pacific, surrounded by the vast blue ocean, lies the Solomon Islands, a paradise for adventurers and nature lovers alike. Among these adventurers was Emily Carter, a daring night diver who sought the thrill of exploring the underwater world after dark. Emily was fascinated by the ocean's mysteries, especially the bioluminescent creatures that lit up the waters with their magical glow. One calm evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and purple, Emily prepared for a dive unlike any other. She had heard tales of a place off the coast where the water came alive at night, sparkling with the light of countless bioluminescent organisms. With her dive gear and a powerful underwater light, she set out to experience this natural wonder. Emily slipped into the water, her heart beating with excitement. As she descended into the depths, the world around her transformed. The ocean's darkness was pierced by her dive light, revealing a hidden realm where tiny creatures shimmered like stars in the night sky. It was a breathtaking sight, and Emily was mesmerized by the beauty of the bioluminescent display. As she swam farther, Emily's light danced across the water, attracting the attention of the ocean's nocturnal inhabitants. Fish darted in and out of the beam, their scales reflecting the light in flashes of silver. Emily felt a deep connection to this mysterious world, a place of beauty and danger intertwined. However, unbeknownst to Emily, her dive light was also attracting the attention of more formidable creatures. The area was a hunting ground for a pack of nocturnal sharks, predators that roamed the waters for their next meal. As Emily marveled at the bioluminescent spectacle, the sharks began to close in, drawn by the light that pierced the darkness. The peacefulness of the dive was soon shattered by the realization that she was not alone. Emily's heart raced as she detected movement in the periphery of her light. At first, she thought it was just another curious fish, but the size and shape of the shadows hinted at something far more dangerous. Emily knew she was in a precarious situation. The beauty of the bioluminescent creatures had led her into the hunting ground of nocturnal sharks, turning her dive into a battle of wits and survival skills. She had to rely on her knowledge of the ocean and its predators to navigate the pitch-black waters safely. As she cautiously moved, trying to avoid attracting more attention, Emily couldn't help but admire the efficiency and grace of the sharks as they moved through the water. She understood that she was an intruder in their domain, a guest in the vast and mysterious underwater world that came alive in the darkness of the night. The encounter was a stark reminder of the ocean's dual nature, a place of unparalleled beauty and inherent danger. Emily's respect for the predators of the deep grew as she realized the delicate balance in the ocean's nocturnal ecosystem. Her adventure had taken an unexpected turn, but it was a vivid lesson in respecting the sea and its inhabitants, no matter how mesmerizing or thrilling the dive might be. In the shadowy waters of the Solomon Islands, Emily Carter found herself in a delicate dance of light and shadow, surrounded by the silent forms of nocturnal sharks. Her heart pounded not just with fear but also with respect for these majestic creatures of the deep. The beauty of the bioluminescent world she had sought to explore was now intertwined with the thrill of survival. Aware that her dive light was both a beacon and a danger, Emily gradually dimmed it, hoping to become less visible to the circling predators. As the light faded, the glowing life around her became even more pronounced, painting a surreal scene in the underwater night. Emily moved slowly, minimizing her movements to avoid attracting further attention from the sharks. The darkness was now almost complete, save for the natural glow of the bioluminescent organisms. Emily's eyes adjusted, and she began appreciating the subtle interplay of light and life in this unique ecosystem. The curious yet cautious sharks seemed to accept her presence, allowing her to observe them from a safe distance. It was a moment of profound connection, a reminder that humans were not rulers of the natural world but participants in its intricate dance. Realizing the importance of coexistence and respect, Emily reflected on the lessons this dive had taught her. The ocean was a place of endless wonders, but it demanded respect. The thrill of adventure could not come at the expense of the safety of its creatures or the balance of their habitats. As Emily slowly ascended to the surface, she felt deeply grateful for the experience. The encounter with the sharks in the bioluminescent waters had been a powerful reminder of the beauty and danger that coexisted in the ocean. It also reinforced her commitment to responsible diving practices that honored the sanctity of marine life. Back on the boat, Emily shared her experience with her fellow divers, emphasizing the importance of respecting the ocean's predators and the delicate ecosystems they inhabited. Her story was a testament to the transformative power of nature and the need for humanity to approach it with humility and care. The night dive among the bioluminescent creatures and nocturnal sharks would remain with Emily as a vivid reminder of the ocean's mysteries. It was an adventure that had brought her face to face with the raw beauty and inherent dangers of the underwater world, deepening her respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. Looking back at the dark waters, now calm and serene in the moonlight, Emily knew that this experience would shape her future interactions with the marine world, always with awe, respect, and a profound sense of responsibility. On a sunny morning on Reunion Island, France, a group of enthusiastic volunteers gathered on the picturesque beach of St. Paul. Among them was Sophie Laurent, a spirited environmental science student from the University of La Réunion. The event was a community-led beach cleanup organized to combat the increasing problem of marine debris affecting the island's stunning coastlines. Sophie, with her long, sun-streaked hair tied back and a determined look in her eyes, was passionate about marine conservation. She had always felt a deep connection to the ocean and was eager to make a tangible difference. Clad in shorts and a t-shirt with sturdy gloves to protect her hands, she listened intently as the coordinator outlined the day's activities. Armed with bags and trash pickers, the volunteers spread out along the shore, their spirits high as they set their tasks. Drafted to the water's edge, Sophie began collecting plastic bottles, discarded fishing nets, and other debris washed ashore. The gentle lap of the waves against her ankles and the occasional call of a seabird overhead made the work feel less like a chore and more like a labor of love. As the morning progressed, Sophie moved into the shallows to retrieve a tangle of plastic that seemed to be partially submerged. The clear waters of Reunion Island, usually so inviting, hid an unexpected danger that day. Without warning, a sharp pain erupted in Sophie's ankle, sending a jolt of fear through her. Startled, she stumbled backward, glancing down to see a small shark swimming away, its silhouette disappearing into the deeper water. Though not deep, the bite was bleeding profusely, marring the clear water around her with dark, spreading clouds. Sophie's heart raced as she called out for help, the shock of the attack setting in. The other volunteers, hearing her cries, rushed to her side, their expressions turning from concern to alarm at the sight of her injury. The beach cleanup ended abruptly as the volunteers rallied around Sophie. One of them, a trained first aider, quickly administered primary treatment, applying pressure to the wound to stem the bleeding. The coordinator, realizing the gravity of the situation, dialed the emergency services, urging them to hurry. As Sophie sat on the sand, surrounded by worried faces, the initial shock gave way to a throbbing pain in her ankle. The community's concern was palpable, their cleanup efforts forgotten in the face of the unfolding emergency. The pristine beach, moments ago a scene of collaborative effort and environmental stewardship, had become the backdrop for a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictable nature. As the minutes ticked by, the serene beach of St. Paul on Reunion Island transformed into a hub of activity. The distant sound of sirens grew louder, signaling the approach of the emergency medical team. The volunteers formed a makeshift pathway to ease their access to Sophie, who sat quietly, trying to mask the pain with a brave smile. The medical team sprang into action upon arrival, their efficiency a comforting presence amidst the tense atmosphere. They assessed Sophie's injury with professional calm, cleaning the wound and ensuring no severe damage had been done. The bite, though frightening, was fortunately superficial, requiring only stitches and not surgery. The beach cleanup coordinator gathered the volunteers as Sophie was being tended to. The day's events had taken an unexpected turn, and it was clear that the cleanup would have to be postponed. The safety of the participants was paramount, and the shark encounter had raised concerns that needed to be addressed before they could continue their work. The incident sparked a flurry of discussions within the community. Local authorities and marine biologists from the University of La Réunion began investigating the shark's presence in such shallow waters, a rare occurrence that caught everyone off guard. The following community meetings focused on enhancing beach safety and balancing the need for environmental conservation with protecting those who volunteered their time. Sophie's story quickly spread, her bravery and commitment to the cause earning her admiration and respect. Interviews with local media highlighted volunteers' risks and the urgent need for action against marine pollution, indirectly contributing to such wildlife encounters. In the following weeks, Sophie's recovery symbolized the community's resilience. Her experience had not dampened her spirit but strengthened her resolve to advocate for the ocean's protection. She became more involved in educational programs, sharing her story to raise awareness about the importance of safe and responsible conservation efforts. The beach cleanup event was rescheduled with increased safety measures and a renewed sense of purpose. The volunteers returned, their numbers bolstered by Sophie's story, ready to continue their work with a deeper understanding of the ocean's complexities. The incident at St. Paul Beach, while alarming, had brought the community closer together. fostering a collective determination to protect their cherished coastal environment. Once a volunteer, Sophie had become a beacon of inspiration, her encounter with the shark a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between human activity and the natural world. As the story concludes, the beaches of Reunion Island remain a place of breathtaking beauty and vibrant life, a testament to the resilience of its people and its marine inhabitants. The community's commitment to conservation, strengthened by their challenges, ensures that the island's shores remain a haven for all who cherish the ocean and its wonders. In the small coastal town of Lefties, West Australia, known for its rugged coastline and thrilling surf spots, a legend had long been whispered among the surfing community. It was about a colossal and untamed wave that appeared only under specific conditions. This wave, known as the Titan, had a fearsome reputation for being infested with sharks, a detail that only added to its mystique. Among the surfers who frequented Lefties, one stood out for his skill and fearlessness: Jack Morrison. A seasoned surfer with sun-bleached hair and a collection of surfing trophies, Jack had conquered waves around the world. But the Titan remained his unfulfilled challenge, a personal Everest he was determined to conquer. The locals, well versed in the tales of the Titan, often warned Jack of its dangers. They spoke of experienced surfers who had dared to ride the wave, but encountered the sharks that lurked beneath, never to be seen again. Jack, however, was undeterred. To him, the Titan was the ultimate test, a chance to prove his mastery over the sea. As spring rolled into summer, the conditions for the Titan began to materialize. The air buzzed with anticipation. Surfers and locals alike knew that the Titan was about to awaken. Jack prepared meticulously, checking his equipment and discussing strategies with his longtime friend and fellow surfer, Lucas. On the day the Titan was expected to appear, the beach was crowded with onlookers, their eyes fixed on the horizon. The sea was unusually calm, but there was a palpable tension in the air. Jack surveyed the ocean, dressed in his wetsuit, waiting for the right moment. As if on cue, the water began to swell, and a massive wave started to form in the distance. The crowd gasped as the Titan emerged, its mighty crest a spectacle of nature's raw power. Jack paddled out, his heart pounding with excitement and a hint of fear. As he approached the towering wave, he could feel the force of the water beneath him. He paddled harder, positioning himself. With a deep breath, he stood up on his board, riding along the crest of the Titan. The thrill was indescribable. He was a speck on a mountain of water, conquering the legendary wave. But as he maneuvered down the wave's face, Jack noticed dark shapes in the water below. Sharks, attracted by the movement and the gathering of fish disturbed by the wave, were swimming just beneath the surface. Jack's mind raced. He needed to stay on the wave and away from the sharks. As he neared the end of the wave, one of the sharks, a massive great white, leaped out of the water, its jaws wide open. Jack narrowly avoided it, feeling the whoosh of air as the shark snapped its jaws shut just inches from him. Jack's heart hammered in his chest as the great white shark plunged back into the ocean, its powerful tail sending a water spray. The crowd on the beach, witnessing this terrifying spectacle, stood frozen in shock. Jack knew he had to act fast. The waters around him were now a hunting ground. He kept his balance, riding the wave with a newfound urgency. His mind, trained from years of surfing, was acutely aware of every movement in the water. Once thrilling, the wave became his escape route from the looming danger below. As Jack neared the shallower waters, another shark, encouraged by the presence of the great white, darted toward him. Its dark silhouette moved swiftly, cutting through the water. Jack, seeing the imminent threat, made a split-second decision. He jumped off his board, aiming for a wave to push him towards the shore. Confused by the sudden movement, the shark missed Jack and collided with his board, sending it flying into the air. Jack, submerged, kicked hard, propelling himself towards the beach. His lungs screamed for air, but he knew he couldn't surface yet. The sharks were still too close. Underwater, Jack's world was a blur of bubbles and shadows. He swam with all his might, driven by instinct and the will to survive. Finally, he broke the surface, gasping for air, and continued to swim towards the safety of the shore. The crowd, now in a state of panic, rushed to help. Lucas and other surfers dove into the water, forming a human chain to reach Jack. They grabbed him as another shark approached, its fins slicing through the water ominously close. Together, they pulled Jack to the beach, where he collapsed, exhausted and shaken but alive. The beach erupted in a mix of cheers and cries of relief. The Coast Guard, alerted by the commotion, arrived swiftly, their boat cutting through the waves to ward off the sharks still circling nearby. Jack lay on the sand, his breathing heavy and eyes staring at the sky. He had ridden the Titan at a cost he hadn't anticipated. The reality of what could have been a fatal encounter settled in. Around him, friends and strangers alike offered comfort and praise for his bravery, but Jack's thoughts were elsewhere. In the days that followed, Jack's encounter with the sharks became the talk of the town. News crews and journalists descended on lefties, eager to capture the story of the surfer who had faced the Titan and survived a shark attack. Jack, however, was introspective, his brush with death having given him a new perspective on life and the ocean. He spoke to the media not about his triumph over the wave, but about respect for nature and the need for caution in the water. His story highlighted shark conservation efforts and the importance of understanding these misunderstood creatures. Jack continued to surf, but he was more cautious, more respectful of the ocean's power. He shared his experience with young surfers, teaching them the thrill of riding waves and the dangers that lurk beneath. The legend of the Titan and Jack's encounter with the sharks became a cautionary tale, a reminder to all who ventured into the waters of lefties. It was a story of adventure, survival, and respect for the natural world, echoing through the surfing community for years. Not long ago, 3 friends named Jack Turner, Sam Johnson, and Leo Clark embarked on an epic fishing expedition. These coastal residents of Massachusetts, who had a great love for fishing, decided one sunny morning in 2011 to try deep-sea fishing. Inspired by tales of large fish caught in distant waters, they sought their adventurous catch. They found a fishing boat that was perfect for them and launched it out into the sea where the sun shone bright, and the waters were as clear as glass. Talking and laughing together, they shared memories from past fishing trips as well as hopes and plans of what fish they hoped to catch today. After sailing far from shore and into waters where the green turned to deep blue, they started their fishing expedition. They cast their lines into the waters, hoping for an incredible catch. Hours passed without much action except a small fish that didn't quite fit what they had imagined in this adventure. Yet they didn't give up hope, enjoying both sea air and the excitement of waiting. At first it seemed unreal, but suddenly a huge shadow appeared beneath their boat. Before anyone could guess what it could be, out jumped a 23-foot great white shark. Like something out of a fantasy tale, this shark crashed onto their boat violently, shaking it violently. Jack shouted urgently as their boat started taking on water, aware that they had limited time. Their vessel was sinking quickly. At the same time, what had once been their ally turned into their adversary, with giant sharks circling and waiting. Fear gripped their hearts, yet they knew they needed to act quickly. Sam shouted with firm conviction, despite his alarm, refusing to give up. To lighten the load and stop the sinking, they began throwing overboard items they found heavy. At the same time, Leo attempted to patch up any leakage he found using whatever means possible, though only as a temporary solution. As the sun began to set, their situation worsened even further. Instead of appreciating its beauty, they found themselves trapped in an endless nightmare. Their surroundings turned darker, the waves crashed around them, and only distant seabirds called. Leo exclaimed, trying to sound brave, that they must stay together and remain calm. They decided that each member would take turns watching out for sharks and bailing water from the boat. Their fishing trip had turned into a struggle for survival. While they had intended to catch big fish, now they were in mortal peril due to an unpredictable shark lurking below, waiting to strike at any chance it got. Yet they didn't lose hope. Together, they knew that they could overcome any challenge presented. As night fell and stars emerged, the sea calmed somewhat, but their struggle remained. Their small boat barely floated amidst rising waters as they wondered what morning would bring. Their adventure had taken an unexpected turn that they never could have predicted. As they watched the night pass, they realized this would become one they would always remember, an unforgettable story that put friendship and courage to the test as the danger posed itself. They persevered until the sun came out over the horizon. As the dawn broke, Jack, Sam, and Leo felt renewed hope. Their night had been difficult, with sharks making several close passes by their boat. But somehow they managed to keep it afloat. Knowing they weren't completely out of danger yet worried them. But seeing the sunrise gave them renewed optimism. Their boat had taken some damage, and much of what they had brought had been lost overboard, yet all 3 occupants remained alive. While it appeared that the shark had vanished into the night, they knew it still lurked nearby in deeper waters, waiting to strike again at any opportunity. They quickly formed a plan for returning to shore. Still, their boat had barely any movement due to damage from the shark attack, rendering it virtually unusable for sailing purposes. So they took turns paddling with whatever tools could serve as oars available, knowing it would be an exhausting journey back, but committed to seeing it through no matter what obstacles may lie in their way. As they paddled along, they discussed what they would do once back on land. Jack joked about never deep-sea fishing again, but knew this experience had changed them, confronting their fears head-on and working together to overcome them. It had become more than just fishing. It had become a testament to survival and friendship between friends. Now, with calmer waters, progress was more straightforward for them. They could see land in the distance, a sight which brought great relief and determination as they paddled with all their might towards a safe destination on land. After what felt like an eternity, they eventually reached the shore, exhausted, hungry, thirsty, but alive. Stepping onto the beach, they looked back towards the sea with memories of the monstrous shark that had transformed their adventure into one they would long forget. They realized their lives would never be the same after this experience. Having come face to face with one of nature's fiercest predators and survived to tell about it, they decided to share their story as a warning for others about its perils. In the following days, their story made headlines, captivating people with their remarkable resilience against all odds. Friends became closer than ever due to this shared ordeal that tested both courage and will to survive. The great white shark that had attacked their boat disappeared from those waters. Some believe it has moved onto other seas, while others think it still lurks beneath Cape Cod waves, serving as a reminder of nature's unpredictable and often dangerous beauty. Jack, Sam, and Leo returned home, forever changed by their deep-sea fishing expedition. At the same time, they expected an adventure-filled experience to emerge from this experience. Instead, a remarkable tale of survival, friendship, and the human spirit would unfold over time, serving as an inspirational testament to what can be accomplished when united together against common challenges. Lucas Gray was no ordinary documentary filmmaker. He was a fearless adventurer on a mission to capture the most breathtaking footage of wildlife and wild animals in their natural habitats. From elephants to lions to tigers and beyond, Lucas had faced some of the world's most formidable creatures, constantly pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible in wildlife filmmaking. What set Lucas apart from his peers was his talent behind the camera and his willingness to put his life on the line in pursuit of the perfect shot. While other filmmakers might opt for safer distances, Lucas thrived on the adrenaline rush of getting up close and personal with his subjects, often placing himself in harm's way to capture the raw intensity of the animal kingdom. In the end, Lucas's work spoke for itself. His films were celebrated not just for their stunning visuals and heart-pounding action, but for the humanity and depth he brought to his subjects. Through his lens, viewers were transported to a world where the line between man and beast blurred, where the majesty of nature reigned supreme. And though Lucas's adventures may have taken him to the very edge of danger, he always returned home with a newfound appreciation for the world around him, ready to embark on his next great adventure and capture the wonders of the natural world for all to see. But one day his stance changed, and he valued safety more. It was around 2008 when he made a month's journey to one of the South African national parks to capture the wild animals. While at the park, he did brunch at a restaurant to have his food and drink, and that's where he met some folks, and they became friends. While gisting one day, they mentioned the shark alley with abundant sharks and an excellent opportunity to capture the essence of underwater. Lucas was keen on discovering what the underwater holds, and having a video of the shark and an opportunity was presented to him like this, he quickly grasped it. After discussing with the guy, they decided to go to the area and get permission and other materials that would be needed. Lucas wanted to explore during the night when the sharks were mostly active. It would be completely new information. The next day they prepared, and with his crew they set to the water. He was to go underwater while he stayed inside an iron cage for protection. A remote button was with him which he would press if he wanted the cage to be raised. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a blanket of darkness over the waters of South Africa's Shark Alley. Lucas felt excitement as he prepared to embark on his most ambitious project yet, a documentary on great white sharks at night. With a team of seasoned divers and state-of-the-art equipment, Lucas was determined to capture never-before-seen footage of these elusive predators in their natural habitat. Armed with specialized underwater lighting and an unwavering sense of adventure, he descended into the depths of Shark Alley, eager to begin filming. The anticipation hung thick as Lucas and his crew made their final preparations. As the cage was lowered into the water, the cool embrace of the ocean enveloped him, sending a shiver down his spine. His heart pounded in his chest as he adjusted his camera, ready to capture every moment of the nocturnal spectacle. As the darkness enveloped him, Lucas felt a sense of exhilaration, unlike anything he had ever experienced. But amidst the beauty and wonder, Lucas knew that danger lurked just beyond the reach of his lights. Lucas's senses were heightened with every flicker of movement in the shadows, his instincts on high alert. He knew that one wrong move could spell disaster. In Shark Alley, great white sharks reigned supreme, their sleek forms slicing through the water with deadly precision. It was a place of unparalleled beauty and unfathomable peril, where the line between life and death was razor-thin. Undeterred by the risks, Lucas pressed on, his camera rolling as he documented the mesmerizing dance of the great whites in the darkness, while he stayed inside an iron cage with a rope tied to it. With each passing moment, he felt a sense of euphoria wash over him, fueled by the adrenaline of the hunt and the thrill of the chase. But as the night wore on, Lucas's sense of invincibility began to wane. In the distance, he spotted a shadowy figure lurking in the depths. A massive great white shark, its predatory gaze fixed on him with chilling intensity. This was no ordinary shark. It was an apex predator renowned for its size, speed, and deadly efficiency. As the great white shark drew closer, Lucas's heart pounded in his chest, the adrenaline coursing through his veins as he braced himself for the inevitable confrontation. But when the shark made its move, it was not Lucas it targeted, but the cage that housed him. With a bone-rattling crash, the great white slammed into the cage, its mighty jaws gnashing at the bars with terrifying ferocity. In an instant, the cage was reduced to twisted metal, its once solid structure now a tangle of jagged edges and broken dreams. Panic surged through Lucas as he realized the gravity of his situation. With his exit blocked and his oxygen running low, he knew that he had to act fast if he hoped to escape the jaws of the great white. He began formulating a plan based on his years of experience and a calm mind. His emergency remote device fell into the ocean's depth due to the first unexpected attack. If not, he would have pressed it and pulled up the cage. Another crushing attack by the shark jolted Lucas back to reality. The shark tried to shrink the cage and swallow it with the inhabitant, causing more damage. Those on the vessel were concerned with what may be happening underwater as the rope kept moving erratically. After a while, they decided to pull the cage up because their boss might be in danger. However, it was more challenging than that. The pulley couldn't pull the cage up no matter how hard they tried, and this is because the shark had clamped its teeth on the cage and pulled it as the crew tried to pull it out. Lucas didn't fail to capture the moment and how the shark opened its large jaw to swallow the cage several times. But seeing this struggle might result in his death because his oxygen is deficient. Lucas successfully tried to force himself out of the cage through the space between the iron rods. Luckily, he was slim and had his oxygen tank off, which is a risk he was determined to undergo. Relying on his years of experience, he removed the rope hook cage and held onto it, and his crew pulled it up. Pulling it up was so light that they thought the rope had cut and Lucas was gone, only to see him emerge from the water battered and weak. As he emerged from the water, gasping for air, he felt a surge of relief washes over him. He had escaped the jaws of the great white, but at a near-catastrophic cost. As Lucas was pulled aboard the research vessel, he knew he had captured some of the most breathtaking footage of his career. But more than that, he had survived an encounter with one of the ocean's most feared predators, emerging more robust and more determined than ever to continue pushing the boundaries of human exploration. In the far reaches of the Arctic, near the icy lands of Svalbard, Norway, Kevin Gilbert, a brave documentary filmmaker, embarked on a thrilling adventure. His mission was simple yet daring: to capture the rarely seen Greenland shark in its natural, icy habitat. Kevin had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the deep, and his latest quest was this elusive giant of the Arctic waters. The Greenland shark, a creature of legend and mystery, thrives in the cold, dark depths of the Arctic Ocean. Its ability to survive in such extreme conditions has intrigued scientists and adventurers alike. With his camera and insatiable curiosity, Kevin hoped to shed light on this mysterious creature, bringing its story to the world. As Kevin arrived in Svalbard, he was greeted by the stark beauty of the Arctic. The landscape was a vast expanse of white, with towering glaciers and frozen seas stretching as far as the eye could see. The air was crisp and cold, biting his skin, but Kevin felt excited. This was the kind of challenge he lived for, an opportunity to explore the unknown and share its wonders with the world. Preparing for the expedition was no small feat. Kevin and his team gathered their equipment, checking and double-checking everything they would need for the ice diving expedition. Special suits to withstand the freezing temperatures, cameras capable of capturing images in the low light of the Arctic waters, and safety gear for the dangerous conditions under the ice were all essential. Every detail had to be perfect. There was no room for error in such a harsh environment. Finally, the day of the dive arrived. Kevin's heart raced with anticipation as he donned his diving suit, feeling the moment's weight. This was his chance to meet the Greenland shark, a creature few had ever encountered in its natural setting. The dive team reached the designated spot, where the ice was thick enough to support their equipment but allowed access to the water below. They cut a hole in the ice, revealing the dark, freezing waters of the Arctic Ocean. Kevin took a deep breath, steadying his nerves, and then, with a nod to his team, he descended into the icy depths. Kevin was enveloped in a world of cold silence as he sank beneath the surface. The light from above faded, and he switched on his underwater camera, its beam cutting through the darkness. The water was so cold it seemed to press against him, but his suit protected him from the worst. He swam slowly and conservatively, aware that every movement used precious energy and oxygen. The underwater landscape was otherworldly, with towering ice formations and a dim, eerie light that filtered through the ice above. It was a beautiful but foreboding place, reminding Kevin of the dangers that lurked in these waters. As he ventured further, Kevin kept his eyes peeled for any sign of the Greenland shark. These creatures were known to be slow-moving and elusive, often blending into the dark waters, making them difficult to spot. Kevin moved cautiously, his camera ready to capture the moment he had been waiting. Then, out of the shadows, a shape began to emerge. At first, it was just a darker patch in the gloom, but as Kevin approached, the outline of the Greenland shark became clear. It was an awe-inspiring sight. The massive shark moving slowly through the water, its eyes a ghostly pale. Kevin's heart pounded with excitement and fear as he realized he was witnessing one of the Arctic's most mysterious creatures in its natural environment. He raised his camera, capturing when the Greenland shark swam past him. Being so close to such a powerful creature under the ice was a tense and dangerous situation. Kevin knew he had to keep his wits about him, maintaining a safe distance while still trying to get the needed footage. The encounter was brief but unforgettable. As the shark disappeared into the darkness, Kevin was left with a profound sense of awe and respect for this giant of the Arctic. He had come in search of discovery and adventure and found it in the icy waters of Svalbard, face to face with the elusive Greenland shark. As Kevin Gilbert ascended from the icy depths back to the surface, his mind raced with the images he had just captured. The encounter with the Greenland shark, an elusive and mysterious creature, was more than he had dared hope for. As he emerged from the water and was helped back onto the ice by his team, the cold air hit him, but the thrill of the dive insulated him against the chill. He had achieved what he had come to the Arctic for, but his adventure was far from over. Kevin and his team gathered at their base camp to review the footage. The images of the Greenland shark were mesmerizing, a ghostly presence in the dark waters beneath the ice. The team was ecstatic. They knew they had something special. Footage that would captivate and educate the world about one of the Arctic's most secretive inhabitants. However, the encounter under the ice also left Kevin with a deep sense of humility and respect for the extreme conditions of the Arctic and the creatures that call it home. With its slow, deliberate movements and ancient eyes, the Greenland shark seemed like a guardian of the deep, a living link to a world still largely unexplored and unknown. Kevin's thoughts turned to the challenges facing the Arctic and its inhabitants. Climate change, melting ice caps, and human activity all impacted this fragile ecosystem. He realized that his documentary had the potential to do more than just showcase the beauty and mystery of the Greenland shark. It could also highlight the importance of preserving this unique environment for future generations. With a renewed sense of purpose, Kevin and his team set out to capture more than just footage of the shark. They documented the stunning landscapes of the Arctic, the icebergs, and the wildlife, weaving a narrative that connected the Greenland shark to the broader story of the Arctic's delicate balance. They interviewed scientists and conservationists, adding their voices to the documentary to provide context and depth to the story they were telling. Kevin felt mixed emotions as the days passed and their time in Svalbard ended. He was proud of their work, but also acutely aware of the responsibility that came with it. The Arctic had shown him wonders and dangers, beauty and fragility, and he was determined to share these with the world in a way that would inspire action and care for the planet. The journey back home was a time for reflection. Kevin thought about the Greenland shark, a creature that had survived in the Arctic for centuries, perhaps even millennia. It had adapted to its environment, thriving in conditions that would be hostile to most other life forms. There was a lesson there, Kevin thought, about resilience, adaptation, and the need for humans to respect and protect the natural world. When the documentary was finally released, it was met with acclaim. Viewers were captivated by the footage of the Greenland shark and moved by the story of the Arctic's beauty and vulnerability. Kevin's encounter under the ice had become a powerful message about discovery, adventure, and the importance of conservation. For Kevin, the experience had been life-changing. He had set out in search of adventure and discovery. He had found it in the eyes of the Greenland shark, the vast, icy Arctic landscapes, and the stories of those working to protect it. The documentary was more than just a film. It was a call to action, a reminder of the wonders that existed in the world, and the responsibility to preserve them for future generations. As he looked forward to his next adventure, Kevin knew that the Arctic, with its harsh beauty and mysterious inhabitants, would always hold a special place in his heart. The Greenland shark, the ghost of the deep, had left an indelible mark on his soul, a reminder of the wild, unexplored corners of the planet that still held secrets waiting to be discovered. Lucas Bennett embarked on a night diving adventure in the warm, tropical waters off the coast of Hawaii, USA. It was the summer of 2023, and Lucas, a university student majoring in marine biology, was on a research trip. His objective was to study the nocturnal behavior of marine life around the coral reefs, a task that filled him with both excitement and a hint of apprehension. Lucas had always been fascinated by the ocean, its vast mysteries and colorful inhabitants captivating his imagination since he was a child. This dive was not just another academic endeavor but a personal challenge, a step closer to understanding the depths that had always been called to him. Equipped with his diving gear and a waterproof flashlight, Lucas slipped into the calm, moonlit sea from the small boat he had rented. His friend and fellow researcher, Zoe Carter, stayed on board, monitoring his progress and ready to assist if needed. The plan was simple. Lucas would explore the reef close to their anchored position, documenting his findings with a waterproof camera. As Lucas descended into the underwater world, the vibrant colors of the coral reef came alive under the beam of his flashlight. Fish of various shapes and sizes darted in and out of the coral, their scales reflecting the light in mesmerizing patterns. Lucas felt a surge of awe and respect for the delicate ecosystem surrounding him. He moved carefully, mindful of his every breath and the gentle sway of the water. His heart raced with excitement as he spotted a rare species of octopus, its tentacles gracefully moving along the seafloor. Capturing this moment with his camera, Lucas knew this dive would provide invaluable data for his research. However, the tranquility of the dive took a sudden, terrifying turn. A swift and silent shadow emerged from the depths, catching Lucas off guard. It was a shark, its sleek form cutting through the water with incredible speed. Lucas's initial fascination quickly turned to fear as the shark circled closer, its eyes reflecting a primal hunger. Watching from the boat, Zoe grew concerned as Lucas's light flickered erratically. She called out to him through their communication device, her voice laced with urgency. Lucas responded, his voice trembling, informing her of the shark's presence. The situation escalated rapidly. Lucas attempted to remain calm, recalling his training on how to deal with shark encounters. He knew sudden movements could provoke an attack, so he tried to keep still, his flashlight aimed at the shark, hoping to deter it with the light. Back on the boat, Zoe realized the gravity of the situation. She knew she had to act fast. She quickly radioed for help, providing their coordinates and explaining the emergency. Meanwhile, she prepared the rescue equipment, her mind racing with worry for her friend below. As Lucas floated in the water, the shark's movements became more aggressive, its sleek body brushing against him in a terrifying dance of predator and prey. Lucas's heart pounded in his chest, his breaths quick and shallow. He knew he was in a fight for his life, the dark waters around him suddenly feeling like a vast, inescapable prison. As the tension beneath the Hawaiian night sky escalated, Lucas Bennett found himself in a dire struggle for survival. Undeterred by his attempts to keep calm and still, the shark launched a sudden, aggressive attack. In a flash of movement, Lucas felt a sharp pain in his leg, a stark reminder of his real danger in the depths. The injury, though not life-threatening, was severe enough to hamper his ability to swim and increase the urgency of the situation manifold. Above the surface, Zoe Carter was in a state of near panic. The distress call she had sent out was a beacon of hope, but her friend's chances seemed to dim with each passing second. She paced the small boat's deck, straining her eyes in the darkness for any sign of Lucas or the rescue team. The only sounds were the gentle lap of the waves against the hull and her ragged breaths. Back underwater, Lucas knew he had to make a decision. With his leg injured and the shark still nearby, waiting passively was no longer an option. Using his remaining strength and trying to ignore the throbbing pain, he began a slow, deliberate ascent to the surface. Each movement was calculated to avoid attracting further attention from the shark, but the ascent felt agonizingly slow. Meanwhile, the rescue team, alerted by Zoe's call, was on its way. The local Coast Guard, experienced in handling such emergencies, navigated their vessel through the night waters with practiced ease. Their boat was equipped with powerful searchlights, cutting through the darkness in search of Lucas and Zoe. Zoe's relief was palpable when the searchlight beam finally swept over their boat. She waved frantically, guiding the rescue team to their location. The team worked quickly, deploying divers into the water to assist Lucas and keep the shark at bay. Lucas, now just below the surface, could see the lights from the rescue boat and felt a surge of hope. The divers reached him swiftly, assessed his condition, and provided immediate first aid for his injury. With their support, Lucas was carefully lifted onto a stretcher and brought aboard the rescue boat. The return to shore was a blur of activity. Lucas, lying on the deck, his leg bandaged, felt relief and disbelief. Zoe stayed by his side, her presence comforting in the chaos. The Coast Guard provided them with blankets and warm drinks, trying to ease the shock of their ordeal. Once on land, Lucas was taken to a local hospital for treatment. His injury, while painful, was not as severe as initially feared. He would recover, but the experience had left an indelible mark on him. The attack, the fear, and the rescue would remain vivid memories, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the sea. As Lucas recuperated, he often found himself gazing out at the ocean, its vastness holding a new meaning. The experience had not dampened his love for marine biology, but it had taught him a profound respect for the power and unpredictability of the natural world. The Hawaiian night dive was a chapter in his life he would never forget, a story of survival under the stars. In the heart of summer 2018, New Smyrna Beach in Florida, a hotspot for surfers and sun-seekers, set the stage for an unforgettable adventure for a group of high school friends. Known for its warm waters and vibrant beach culture, New Smyrna was also notorious for its shark sightings, which often thrilled the more daring visitors. The story revolves around 5 teenagers: Alex Johnson, a confident and natural leader; Sarah Miller, the group's free spirit; Ethan Wright, the cautious and thoughtful one; Mia Thompson, adventurous and fearless; and Kyle Anderson, the prankster of the group. They had planned a weekend of beach camping to celebrate their high school graduation, eager to make memories before heading off to college. Their campsite was a small clearing near the beach, hidden from the usual tourist spots. It was the perfect place for them to relax, share stories, and enjoy the starry nights. As the sun set on their first day, the beach transformed into a beautiful canvas of oranges and purples, and the friends gathered around the campfire. The night was warm, the sound of waves soothing, but relaxation soon turned to excitement for these friends. Kyle, ever the instigator, dared the group to go for a midnight swim. Despite Ethan's protests, reminding them of the beach's reputation for sharks, the excitement of the dare was too tempting. After some hesitation, they all agreed, laughing off Ethan's concerns. They ventured into the water, the moon casting a silvery glow. The thrill of the night swim was exhilarating. They splashed and shouted, their laughter echoing along the shoreline, but their joy was short-lived. Suddenly, Mia felt something brush against her leg. At first, she dismissed it as seaweed, but a second, more forceful nudge sent a wave of panic through her. She screamed, alerting the others. Within moments, the group was in a frenzy, scrambling towards the shore. From the beach, Ethan, who had stayed back, saw the commotion and ran towards the water, his heart pounding. As he reached the water's edge, he could make out a dark shape moving swiftly through the water. A shark drawn by the noise and splashing. Alex and Sarah reached safety first, closest to the shore, followed by Kyle, who was panting heavily. Mia, however, was farther out, struggling to keep up. A mere shadow in the moonlit water, the shark circled closer to her. Mia's strokes became frantic as she tried to escape the looming shadow beneath her. The others, now safely on the beach, shouted for her to hurry. Without a second thought, Ethan grabbed a nearby lifebuoy and plunged into the water, driven by fear and determination. The shark, a sleek and powerful predator, was closing in on Mia. Her energy was waning, her kicks slower as panic set in. As the shark neared, Ethan reached her, thrusting the lifebuoy towards her. She grabbed it with a desperate strength she didn't know she had. Ethan's presence in the water diverted the shark's attention. It circled them, its dark fin cutting through the water like a blade. Mia and Ethan, clinging to the lifebuoy, slowly moved back towards the shore, trying not to splash too much to avoid attracting the shark further. Alex, Sarah, and Kyle watched helplessly on the beach, their hearts in their throats. The shark made a sudden, swift move toward Ethan and Mia, its jaws open. In that heart-stopping moment, Ethan pushed Mia away, making himself the closer target. But just as quickly, the shark veered away, disappearing into the depths. The reason for its retreat was soon apparent. The disturbance had attracted the attention of a nearby patrol. A Coast Guard boat, lights flashing, was speeding towards them. Sensing the larger presence, the shark had decided to abandon its pursuit. Exhausted and shaken, Mia and Ethan finally returned to the beach. Their friends rushed to them. Relief and fear mingled in their tearful embraces. The Coast Guard arrived, provided first aid, and checked them for injuries. Miraculously, aside from some cuts and bruises, they were unharmed. The teenagers sat wrapped in blankets, sipping warm drinks provided by the Coast Guard. The officer in charge gave them a stern but relieved lecture on night swimming and the dangers of sharks, especially in a known hotspot like New Smyrna Beach. The incident became a pivotal moment for the group. The rest of the weekend was spent much more quietly, with reflections on the close call they had experienced. The reality of their mortality and the unpredictability of nature had sunk in. Their conversations drifted to plans, dreams, and the promise to always look out for one another, no matter where life took them. Years later, they would often recount the story of their graduation beach camping trip. It started as an adventurous getaway but became a life lesson they would never forget. They spoke of Ethan's bravery, the terror of the shark's shadow in the moonlight, and their newfound respect for the ocean's power. The story of their night at New Smyrna Beach reminded them of the fine line between adventure and recklessness, and the unbreakable bond that their shared experience had forged among them. Jake Carter had always loved the sea and all it contained. Being a marine photographer meant that Jake took pictures of fish, corals, and various sea life as part of his profession. One sunny day, Jake decided to make a special trip to the Bahamas so he could capture its breathtaking underwater world and document its beauty for his job. Jake was extremely thrilled. With camera in hand and anticipation building, Jake couldn't wait to dive into the clear blue water of the Bahamas. This destination was well known for its breathtaking reefs and amazing fauna living there. And Jake hoped he might witness colorful fish, playful dolphins, or perhaps even an unexpected sea turtle. Jake donned his diving gear, consisting of a mask, a tank of air so he could breathe underwater, and flippers to assist with swimming. Once in the water, Jake discovered an underwater world more stunning than any he had imagined. Bright corals of various shapes and sizes were scattered all across his field of vision. Schools of fish of multiple colors darted about in schools around him. It felt as if Jake were transported into another realm, one with peace and silence all around him. Jake began taking photos, capturing the beauty of the sea with his camera. Everything was going as planned until Jake noticed an odd shadow moving in the distance. At first, he thought it might be something big like a fish or dolphin. As it got closer, he realized it was actually a shark, an enormous hammerhead. Jake knew a lot about sea animals, including hammerhead sharks. Most hammerhead sharks were not dangerous to people, yet this particular one seemed different as it kept watching Jake and moving closer. Jake tried his best to remain calm. Panicking would only serve to increase its threats. Instead, he remembered what he had learned about sharks from experience. Keep eye contact, stay still, and do not act like prey. But the shark would not retreat. Instead, it circled closer and closer until Jake found himself thinking quickly about ways to return safely to his boat. With an array of caves and tunnels within the reef surrounding him, Jake began to consider the possibility of using its sheltering properties as cover while making his journey back without alerting any sharks. Jake decided to move slowly, using coral as cover. He made his way through tunnels and around large blocks of coral while keeping an eye on the shark, who seemed aware of his plan, keeping up with him as they followed. Jake found a part of the reef that was highly intricate, offering plenty of concealing places. He thought this was his chance. If he could navigate his way through it successfully, he could lose the shark and find his way back to his boat. He took a deep breath and thrust forward, weaving through the coral. A shark quickly closed in behind him, but Jake was determined. This was no game. Clear blue water had become a maze filled with hidden dangers and games of hide and seek. As Jake progressed through the reef, he realized it would be more challenging than anticipated. The shark was determined and treacherous, yet Jake refused to give up. Using all his knowledge and abilities, he must outwit its hunter in order to survive. Jake tried everything he knew to stay one step ahead of the hammerhead shark and stay that way. He wondered whether or not he'd make it back to his boat. One thing was clear, however, he wouldn't give up trying. As Jake Carter navigated his way through the underwater maze of the Bahamian Reef, his lungs burned with effort as he dodged around every turn and attempted to remain still. A hammerhead shark with its distinctive head proved a formidable foe, its uncanny intelligence being enough for it to mirror every move with terrifying precision. Jake remembered reading that hammerhead sharks use their wide heads to detect electrical signals emitted by prey. And this knowledge made him acutely aware that he wasn't just an observer in this vast blue expanse. Rather, he was the target. Yet even in spite of his fearful feelings, he realized it would take smarts, not speed, to survive this situation. Jake knew this could be his best chance at outwitting the shark. Its complexity provided an advantage over him as an agile swimmer. Jake moved cautiously, carefully conserving the air that remained. In tight spaces, he used his camera as a distraction tool by tapping it against rocks to send vibrations through the water, and hopefully disorient any shark that came near. Jake could feel their presence just beyond his field of vision, but could never actually see one directly. Once again, an unthinkable event took place. As Jake squeezed through a narrow gap between two corals, he found himself in a small clearing surrounded by a protective reef. Meanwhile, due to either sheer luck or relentless pursuit, the shark made its way onto the other side of the clearing, and they stood face to face, only yards apart from being predator and prey. Jake felt his heart beating faster as he stared into the eyes of a shark, knowing this could be his only opportunity. Recalling how divers use a technique called making oneself big, making direct eye contact, and, if necessary, pushing away sensitive areas on a shark's nose or gills to keep curious sharks at bay, Jake quickly prepared himself, standing ready with hands stretched out towards his attacker. At that moment, however, an unexpected relief arrived in the form of a group of dolphins that burst into the clearing. Playfully yet protective of their realm, this playful yet protective marine life circled Jake before turning their attention back onto the hammerhead shark, who hesitated before taking flight at once with its prey distracted. Jake took advantage of this momentary distraction and raced toward the surface as quickly as his arms would allow. Jake gasped for air as soon as he reached the surface. Never was he more grateful to see daylight. Almost instinctively, he quickly located his boat and used what strength was left of his to climb aboard it with ease, half expecting the hammerhead shark to lash out again from where it had come. Instead, it had vanished into its waters of origin. Once Jake had returned home, word quickly spread among locals and then the world about his journey. His images of Bahamian reef life gained new depth through his account of survival. At the same time, Jake had intended to capture its beauty through photography. Instead, they became the source of much horror for others to endure. Jake came away from this encounter with an immense respect for the sea and its inhabitants, especially sharks. Though Jake would return to its waters once more, its call proved irresistible. Still, he would always remember the day when he gazed into a shark's eye without being eaten as a reminder of its great power and of how fragile this marine world could be. Ava Sinclair, a 20-year-old nursing student from San Francisco, leads a dual life as an Instagram model. Born into a family of 5, she balances her studies at the University of California with her thriving career in modeling. Despite her young age, Ava possesses a maturity and drive that set her apart from her peers. While her classmates spend their weekends socializing, Ava juggles photo shoots and castings, honing her craft and building her brand on social media. But amidst the glitz and glamour of the fashion world, Ava remains grounded in her studies. Despite the demands of her modeling career, Ava is determined to pursue her education and make a difference in the lives of others. Balancing her academic responsibilities with modeling gigs is no easy feat, but Ava thrives on the challenge. Whether studying for exams or strutting down the runway, she approaches each task with the same dedication and determination. Despite the glamorous facade of Ava's life on social media, she grapples with the same struggles and setbacks that plague any young woman chasing her dreams. Behind the perfectly curated photos and polished captions lie moments of doubt, insecurity, and fear. In those moments of vulnerability, Ava finds solace and support in the unwavering love and encouragement of her boyfriend, Mike. Mike is more than just a supportive partner. He is Ava's rock, her pillar of strength in times of adversity. Whether she's facing a challenging photo shoot or wrestling with self-doubt, Mike is always there by her side, offering a steady hand and a reassuring smile. Mike's support goes beyond mere words of encouragement. He is a true partner in every sense of the word, willing to roll up his sleeves and lend a helping hand whenever Ava needs it most. Their relationship is a testament to the power of love and teamwork, a partnership forged in the fires of adversity and strengthened by a shared commitment to each other's happiness and success. Together, Ava and Mike are an unstoppable force, navigating the ups and downs of life with grace, resilience, and unwavering devotion to one another. After wrapping up the semester exams at the University of California, Mike received an unexpected call from his dad inviting him to join the family on a vacation to the Bahamas. Thrilled by the prospect of a tropical getaway, Mike eagerly asked if his girlfriend Ava could come along. To his delight, his dad readily agreed, extending the invitation to Ava without hesitation. With excitement coursing through his veins, Mike couldn't wait to embark on this adventure with the most important people in his life. The anticipation bubbled within them as Mike, Ava, Mike's parents, and his 2 siblings boarded the plane bound for the Bahamas, ensuring all necessary airport procedures were smooth. Ava informed her parents about her trip, and her mother even lent a hand in packing her luggage, eager for her daughter to savor the getaway. As the plane taxied along the runway and ascended into the sky, Ava felt a familiar thrill coursing through her veins. Although she had traveled by air before, the prospect of visiting the Bahamas felt almost surreal. Every moment of their journey seemed ripe for sharing on Ava's Instagram page, each post promising to attract more followers enchanted by nature's allure. Touching down at the Bahamas airport, the family retrieved their luggage, connected with their vacation guide, and hopped into a taxi bound for their pre-booked hotel. The first day was dedicated to relaxation and exploring the opulent five-star accommodations. But the real adventure awaited them on the second day when they ventured out to embrace the azure waters surrounding the island. Selecting Staniel Cay for its proximity and distinct charm, the family eagerly embarked on their aquatic escapade. With her waterproof camera, Ava captured countless moments with Mike's assistance, eager to document their adventures for her social media audience. Little did she know this outing would impart one of life's most poignant lessons. Ava's desire to frolic with the nurse sharks, touted as a safe and enjoyable activity by locals, led her to the water's edge. With the guidance of their vacation guide and a team of adept divers, Ava plunged into the ocean, hoping to immortalize her interactions with the sharks on camera. However, fate had a different plan in store. In an unexpected turn of events, a bull shark stealthily approached Ava, its presence unbeknownst to the vigilant divers. With a swift and ferocious strike, the shark clamped its teeth onto Ava's arm, sending shock waves of panic rippling through the surrounding swimmers. As screams pierced the air, Ava grappled with the predator, fighting to break free from its relentless grip. Mike's father, capturing the ordeal on his phone, watched in disbelief as the scene unfolded before his eyes. Though shaken, the vacation guide reassured the family that his team would swiftly intervene to rescue Ava from the predator's clutches. The harrowing struggle ensued as Ava battled to free herself from the shark's grasp, her heart pounding with adrenaline-fueled determination. With the diver's timely intervention, Ava managed to extricate herself from the shark's jaws, her bloodied arm serving as a testament to her tenacity. Mike rushed to her side, cradling her injured arm as they made their way to the safety of the shore. Though the injury was minor, it necessitated immediate medical attention, prompting their swift departure to a nearby clinic at the marina. The gravity of the situation prompted a meeting with Arkham Chase, the owner of Staniel Cay Marina, to discuss the inherent risks of shark encounters in the area. Despite claims of warning signs posted around the marina, Ava maintained she had not seen any indication of potential danger. Further examination revealed remnants of shark teeth embedded in Ava's arm, underscoring the urgent need for medical intervention. With a heavy heart, Ava bid farewell to her truncated Bahamas vacation, the lingering scars serving as a poignant reminder of the peril she had narrowly escaped. Though saddened by the abrupt end to her idyllic getaway and apprehensive about the potential impact on her budding modeling career, Ava found solace in the fact that she had emerged from the ordeal relatively unscathed. As she embarked on the journey back home for further treatment, she reflected on the fragility of life and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. In the serene waters of the Great Barrier Reef, Emily Harris and her brother, Michael Harris, embarked on a peaceful fishing trip under the golden Australian sun. The year was 2021, and the siblings had rented a modest boat for a day of tranquility and bonding. They had chosen a secluded spot known among locals for its rich marine life, but untold by any map, far from the bustling tourist trails and closer to nature's untouched beauty. Emily, a schoolteacher from Sydney with a passion for marine biology, was thrilled at the chance to combine her love for teaching and the sea. An amateur photographer, Michael, was equally excited to capture the stunning landscape and vibrant underwater world. The reef, with its myriad colors and bustling aquatic life, was the perfect backdrop for their adventure. As they settled into their spots, the gentle lap of waves against the hull and the distant calls of seabirds set a calm rhythm. Emily baited her line with practiced ease, casting it into the clear azure waters, while Michael adjusted his camera settings, eager to document their expedition. The morning passed with the siblings sharing stories and laughs, occasionally reeling in small catches, which they released after admiring the beauty of each fish. The sun climbed higher, painting the sky in brilliant hues of blue, and the water around them sparkled like a sea of diamonds. But as the day wore on, the tranquility of their outing was shattered by an unexpected visitor. A shadow loomed beneath the surface, growing more ominous as it approached their boat. Emily's line tensed suddenly, and she braced herself, thinking she had snagged a significant catch. However, the reality was far more startling. Without warning, a massive shark, its mottled gray skin and scars witnessing its battles, breached the water's surface. Its powerful body slammed onto the deck with a thunderous crash, its jaws snapping ferociously. The siblings froze in terror, the shark's dark eyes locking onto theirs, a primal fear gripping their hearts. Emily's mind raced. She knew they were in a precarious position. The boat, barely sturdy enough for their leisurely fishing, now rocked violently under the shark's weight. She glanced at Michael, his face pale, his camera forgotten at his side. Emily formulated a plan based on her knowledge of marine life and a sudden surge of adrenaline. She remembered reading about sharks' sensitivity to touch in certain areas and their reliance on the element of surprise. She shouted to Michael, instructing him to distract the shark with his camera flash while she searched for something to defend themselves with. The confined space of the boat became a battleground. Michael, recovering from his initial shock, began flashing his camera at the shark, its eyes recoiling with each burst of light. Armed with a sturdy fishing rod, Emily aimed for the shark's gills, knowing it was a vulnerable spot. Their struggle was intense, a dance of survival where every move could be their last. The shark thrashed violently, its tail smashing against the boat's sides, threatening to capsize them. Emily and Michael worked in tandem, their fear mixed with a fierce determination to protect each other. As the sun descended toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the water, the siblings found themselves in a precarious stalemate with the beast. With each passing moment, their situation grew more desperate. The shark's relentless energy contrasted with their waning strength. The struggle between Emily, Michael, and the shark intensified as the sun lowered, casting an orange glow over the water. The small boat's once peaceful deck was now chaotic, with fishing gear strewn about and the shark's powerful movements threatening to send them all into the water. Her resolve hardening, Emily knew they couldn't maintain this standoff much longer. Her mind raced for a solution, recalling every knowledge she had about sharks. She remembered a documentary she'd watched, detailing how some sharks, when flipped onto their backs, enter a state of tonic immobility, a temporary paralysis. It was a long shot, but it was their only chance. She shared her plan with Michael in hushed, urgent tones, aware that their window of opportunity was shrinking with the fading light. Michael nodded, understanding the risks but trusting his sister's judgment. They decided that Emily would continue to fend off the shark with the fishing rod, aiming to disorient it, while Michael would use a spare oar to leverage the shark, attempting to flip it over. Sensing their movements, the shark became more aggressive, its tail slamming against the boat with enough force to crack the wooden planks. Water began to seep in, adding another layer of danger to their dire situation. Emily and Michael exchanged a look, understanding the stakes had just risen. Their survival now depended not only on subduing the shark, but also on keeping the boat afloat. In desperation and courage, Emily jabbed the fishing rod towards the shark's gills again, causing it to reel back. Seizing the moment, Michael positioned the oar under the shark's massive body, pushing with all his might. The shark, caught off guard by the unexpected maneuver, flipped onto its back. For a brief moment it lay still, its underbelly exposed to the fading light, its eyes glazed over in tonic immobility. The siblings didn't waste a second. Michael quickly secured the oar to ensure the shark remained in place, while Emily grabbed a bucket to start bailing out the water flooding their boat. Their actions were swift and synchronized, born of a lifetime of camaraderie and mutual understanding. As the last rays of the sun vanished below the horizon, the shark began to stir, its immobility wearing off. But by then, Emily and Michael had managed to stabilize the boat and were ready to escape. They carefully navigated around the still disoriented shark, using their remaining oars to propel the boat towards safety. The journey back to shore was tense, with both siblings keeping a vigilant watch over the water. The experience had changed them, the close encounter with the shark leaving a mark on their psyche. They spoke little, each lost in their thoughts, the gravity of their situation sinking in. As they finally reached the safety of the shore under the cover of night, they looked back at the water, the moon reflecting off its surface. The shark was nowhere to be seen, having disappeared into the depths of the Great Barrier Reef. The siblings shared a relieved embrace, thankful for their escape but forever altered by the ordeal. While terrifying, their harrowing experience brought them closer together, forging a stronger bond than ever. They returned to their lives, Emily to her teaching and Michael to his photography. But the memories of that day remained, a reminder of their survival and the incredible story they had lived to tell. In the tranquil summer of 2001, The coastal town of Emerald Bay, known for its pristine waters and abundant marine life, became the backdrop for a harrowing tale of survival. The narrative centers on the luxurious yacht Sea Odyssey, owned by the wealthy and enigmatic Richard Stanton. Richard had organized an exclusive yacht party to celebrate his latest business venture, inviting a select group of influential guests. Among the invitees was Emily Harris, a respected marine biologist renowned for her groundbreaking research on shark behavior. Emily's invitation was a deliberate choice by Richard, who was eager to discuss potential collaborations with her. The yacht drifted through the calm waters as evening descended, adorned with elegant decor and lively guests. The setting sun casts a golden glow, creating a picturesque scene. The air was alive with music, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. Emily felt out of place amidst the lavishness. Her thoughts were with the mysterious depths below them. Unbeknownst to the revelers, a quiet disaster was about to unfold. Michael Thompson, a young and enthusiastic entrepreneur, was leaning over the railing, captivated by the sea's allure. In a twist of fate, he lost his balance and fell overboard, plunging into the dark waters below. The yacht, filled with the sounds of festivity, took a moment to register the gravity of the situation. Panic ensued as the guests realized what had happened. Emily's heart raced with dread. She knew the dangers that lurked beneath the waves of Emerald Bay, especially after sunset. Understanding the severity of the incident, Richard immediately ordered the yacht to halt and initiated a rescue operation. However, amidst the chaos, their distress signal to the Coast Guard was lost, leaving them isolated in the vast ocean. With her expertise in marine life, Emily stepped forward to lead the rescue. Time was critical. Sharks are drawn to the thrashing and noise of a struggling swimmer. She coordinated with the crew to deploy a smaller boat for the rescue, readying herself to dive in and assist. A sense of dread enveloped them as they neared Michael's last known location. The faint silhouette of a shark circling nearby became visible, attracted by the commotion. Emily's heart sank further. The predator was dangerously close. In the rescue boat, armed with only a flashlight and extensive knowledge, Emily leaned over the edge, scanning the waters for Michael and the approaching shark. Every second was precious, and the looming threat of the shark attack intensified the urgency of their mission. With Emily at the helm, the rescue boat closed in on the spot where Michael had last been seen. The water, black under the night sky, offered little visibility. Emily's flashlight swept over the waves, searching. Then, one of the crew members shouted that they had spotted Michael struggling weakly a few meters away. As they drew nearer, the ominous shadow of the shark became more apparent, circling closer with each passing moment. Emily knew they had mere moments before it would strike. Her mind raced with the knowledge she had accumulated over years of studying these apex predators. She had to act fast. Emily dove into the water in a split-second decision, creating a distraction. She planned to draw the shark's attention away from Michael. It was a dangerous move, but it was their only chance. The shark, curious about this new arrival, veered towards Emily. Her heart pounded as she swam vigorously, leading the predator away from Michael. Meanwhile, the crew reached Michael, pulling his exhausted form into the boat. His leg bore deep gashes from the shark's initial attack, blood coloring the water around him. The crew's immediate concern was to stop the bleeding and stabilize him. They applied pressure to the wounds with makeshift bandages, trying to control the blood loss while radioing the yacht for medical assistance. Richard and the other guests had prepared the first aid kit on the yacht and readied themselves for Michael's return. The atmosphere was tense, a stark contrast to the earlier mirth. Richard and a few guests helped hoist Michael on board as the rescue boat approached. The yacht's crew, some with basic medical training, quickly administered first aid. They cleaned the wounds with antiseptic, applied more secure bandages, and administered pain relief. Meanwhile, Richard contacted the Coast Guard and dispatched a rescue helicopter. Michael, though in pain and shock, was conscious. He thanked his rescuers, particularly Emily, who had risked her life to save his. Emily, now back on the yacht, was visibly shaken but composed. Her quick thinking and bravery had averted a greater tragedy. As the helicopter arrived, the winch lowered to airlift Michael to the nearest hospital. The guests on the yacht watched in solemn silence as he was carried away, the seriousness of the situation weighing heavily on their minds. Michael's recovery became a story of resilience and courage in the following weeks. His injuries, though severe, were not life-threatening, and he made a steady recovery. The experience had left its mark, not just physically but also mentally. He often spoke of the incident, reflecting on the fragility of life and the unexpected heroes like Emily, who emerge in times of crisis. Emily, meanwhile, gained renewed respect among her peers and the public. Her actions that night were a testament to her expertise and bravery. The incident also highlighted the need for better safety measures in recreational water activities and a deeper understanding of the marine environment. The story of that fateful night on the Sea Odyssey became a reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the extraordinary courage of ordinary people. It was a tale that would be recounted for years in Emerald Bay, a testament to survival and the human spirit.